After a global cataclysm, people create a new profession. They learn to control all the elements in the world. Niels was the first to extract energy from iron. The iron element was extracted to 57%. It was used not only as a source, the main application was different. Otherwise, the lieutenant would not have wasted his time. Today, he is ready to show the power of the element. Iron performs well in battle. The armored plate won't be able to withstand it. No one can stand after such a blow. Young people have a lot to learn. Henry has been hearing voices a lot lately. Someone suggests that he resume his studies. The guy demands to come out of the shadows. This request is easy to fulfill. The system window starts processing the mission. Just a little more and the fun will begin. Henry has to meet someone. Her name is Bridget and she doesn't like to joke. You could say the guy was very lucky. Major Bridget will personally manifest his element. Henry had never been under the guidance of a girl. Niels reminds that they are the same age. However, in this pair, Henry is the newcomer. The piece of ore under your feet will do for a start. Niels demands to transform the energy of the ore. A girl can make do with what she has. It extracts an element from another dimension. A destroyed piece of ice becomes a weapon. This did not happen during the exercises. The element should be manifested in a non-fixed form. Form must arise by itself. You need to imagine it in your imagination. The element of Bridget manifests in the form of a dragon. She throws a projectile towards the pet. The giant easily catches him in his mouth. He quickly digests a piece of iron. Impurities in iron are removed in an instant. A hearty iron lunch. You don't see tricks like this every day. Henry was truly lucky to have such a mentor. The director is pleased with the young warrior's success. This is great advertising for new applicants. This year the school will accept 10 students. One of them must be Henry. Otherwise, why would the system contact? By the way, you will have to participate in sacrifices. This is not a joke. You need to get used to the new. Usually the rituals are performed at midnight. Many fighters have gone through something similar. But this guy doesn't look like a fighter at all. At this moment, Teacher Tyrone appears behind. He asks to replace him during classes for a small fee. Without hesitation, Henry agrees to help. It's nice to deal with reasonable guys. Henry always takes on any job. He is a brilliant student and a favorite of his teachers. Henry asks the headman to take the list of tasks. However, everyone is waiting for the continuation of the previous lesson. Unfortunately, a test is already scheduled for today. There is no use in trying to persuade Henry. They will have an entrance exam soon. Only a few will be accepted into the military academy. True, first you need to find a charger. He asks to look after the class in his absence. The path seems to become more difficult every day. Suddenly he hears a familiar voice. His mother has some business here. More importantly, why Henry wasn't in class. Eleanor has to work a lot. She hopes that her son will achieve more. Mom asks me to come home earlier. Henry, as usual, promises to be there in the evening. Auntie will also be waiting for him for dinner. There is too much to do. If he wants to change his life, he must find a way to become stronger. The system always appears at the wrong time. She knows what Henry really wants. Every person one day faces a choice. This guy has already made his choice. He accepts the system's mission. Soon the young man finds himself inside the interface. You can get additional items here. Rewards depend on the difficulty of the missions. The highest difficulty level gives better abilities. We need to weigh everything carefully. It will be impossible to refuse the task. He chooses the most difficult level. You just need to confirm your choice. You are given one attempt to pass. The system offers to choose the mission yourself. If you think back, Bridget has been through a lot too. The girl had to huddle with rats in the sewers. She started her promotion from the bottom. He must prove himself no worse. Perhaps this will take him to the very top. Meanwhile, Bridget was in her room. She never stops training for a minute. Someone decides to disturb her. It was Lieutenant Niels, and he had news. Another love letter arrived addressed to her. The lieutenant's entire room is littered with these messages. The girl hasn't paid attention to them for a long time. However, there is one letter she should take a look at. The son of an influential gentleman is waiting for her downstairs. He offers to enlist the support of this man. With the help of a stupid offspring, this can be arranged. At that moment, Bridget throws him a flash drive. It contains classified information. This is what she asks to do first. Love affairs can wait a bit. The atmosphere in her room is heating up to the limit. She often lets off steam by working out. This girl knows her worth. Niels didn't lie when he told me about the boy. He is really waiting for her with flowers. Chuck hopes he can win her over. He had never been rejected before. With her help, Chuck will easily enter university. You just need to do everything correctly. Suddenly they notice a strange guy. It's strange. Why does Henry need such a backpack? He didn't seem to notice them. That's not very polite of him. It's stupid to lie that he's in too much of a hurry. Chuck offers him a profitable business. He needs to turn on his head while he has the chance. Chuck asks to get a key to Bridget's room. He is ready to pay 50,000 for this. Henry agrees too quickly. He promises that he will be able to get this key. It would be foolish to miss out on such easy money. Tommy begs to be entrusted with this. I'll have to explain some things to him. All suspicion will fall on Henry instead of them. If the missing key is discovered, Henry will be held responsible. Henry wants to rent a room by the hour. However, all the numbers are already taken. Henry knows how to melt her heart. Susie immediately changes her answer. It turns out that there are still some free rooms left. The guy admits that he is looking for Lieutenant Niels. He asks to be told where he is staying. It turns out that Niels was just renting a room next door. If it weren't for Susie, Henry would have wasted a lot of time. A little more, and the girl would have gone after the handsome man. However, today the guy has a lot of work. First, it wouldn't hurt to take a bath. Although there is not much time left, the guy hopes that he will be able to get the key in time. An hour later, no one had left the hotel. Chuck decides he's entrusted the job to an idiot. He orders Tommy to go to the hotel. He reminds us that it is not free. You'll have to pay in advance for stealing the key. Chuck didn't like being haggled with. 10 minutes later, the key was in his hands. He promises to buy his friend new things. The moment of truth has finally arrived. Now Bridget gets to know him better. The girl will be delighted with Chuck's charm. He goes up to the 7th floor. You need to breathe out. Success was almost achieved. Luckily, the key turned out to be suitable. He ends up in Bridget's room. The guy's heart is beating out of his chest. Someone breaks out of the shower. Damn, this is so exciting. The smell from the girl's bathroom is driving her crazy. Chuck is ready to accept compliments. He always considered himself an expert in relationships with the ladies. One more second, and all his wishes will come true. First love is always unexpected, but it is she who is remembered forever. He quickly grabs the belt of his robe. The guy admits that he has been in love for a long time. He loves her more than life. Chuck promises to give her the whole world, if she agrees to become his wife. In a second, Bridget should scream with delight. Flowers will make her believe in feelings. Bridget is as beautiful as a delicate petal, but instead of her, Lieutenant Niels was looking at the guy. This is very bad news for Chuck. Niels certainly won't be gentle with him. This is the end. Instead of Bridget's hand, he feels Niels's leg. The bouquet flies after the young lover. Sometimes love is bloody. Today is exactly such a case. The officer understands that a conflict has occurred. The whole team runs towards loud voices. Chuck asks to be heard. He warns that his father will be angry with Niels. The police are ready for anything, but a little surprise awaits them. They learned a lot about Niels. It was not by chance that these two were here. I had to see the lieutenant without clothes. The boys apologize for disturbing them. They arrived a little late. At this time, Henry was at home. He decides to scout out the situation. Suddenly, he notices Major Bridget. She heads to her room. This opportunity cannot be missed. Henry decides to go ahead. He instantly finds himself on the floor below. Incredibly, this is where the girl stopped. He sees her energy saver. Such a high-level artifact costs no less than 1,000. You can quickly solve money problems. Henry realizes that he needs to find shelter first. Hiding in a closet isn't very pleasant, but there is no other choice. There is no time to hesitate, we must act. Soon he hears the key turning in the lock. There was no doubt about it. It was her. Henry left no trace behind him. You can rest assured. While the girl was in the shower, there was time to look around. He hopes that everything will go well. 10 minutes later, Bridget comes out of the shower. She walks slowly towards the closet. She must be coming back. He chose a bad place to hide. A second later, the girl was already here. Just a little more and everything will be revealed. The main thing is not to scream in fear. Her palm almost touches Henry's. Did she suspect something? The bunny ear costume has finally been found. That's all she was looking for in the closet. The guy didn't expect to find out about her strange taste. And the mask was quite strange. In general, girls are very strange when they are alone in a room. Everyone knows about Bridget's difficult past. The girl was able to survive in harsh conditions. She even had a chance to visit the sewers. Then, for the first time, she experienced wild fear. Hungry rats were scurrying around everywhere here. Bridget still sees it in her dreams. She jumps out of bed from another nightmare. That's why she sleeps in weird pajamas. Suddenly, Bridget hears a familiar sound. That familiar sound and that terribly disgusting smell. She decides to call the reception. For a long time, no one answers. It becomes clear that help will not reach her in time. The damn rats are already in her room. Out of fear, the girl throws herself under the blanket. The rats from her nightmares are now here. This is Bridget's worst fear. She's ready to fall through the ground. Luckily, she manages to pull herself together. With one blow, several creatures were thrown aside. The girl is sure that this is just a dream. There are no rats in an expensive hotel. But someone has to disappoint her. A giant rat blocks the exit. She begs not to come closer. The monster instantly pounces on its victim. He chose the wrong target to attack. Major Bridget sends a mutant into a wall. This bastard will remember her for a long time. If he can get back on his paws, he turned out to be quite resilient. A second later, the monster is ready to attack again. He embodies all her childhood fears. That's why it's so hard to fight. Bridget begins to lose consciousness. She falls to the floor right in front of the monster. Nobody expected such a turn of events. However, there is time to finish the job. The guy quickly unzips his suit. It's quite painful to get hit directly. She is very cute when she is angry. A person is always lost in the face of the fears of the past. Bridget won't be able to resist anymore. You can begin the ritual of sacrifice. Meanwhile, Chuck's business is not going well. Tommy tries to cheer up his friend. He demands to shut up and not talk nonsense. He can't just leave empty-handed. His father will come here if necessary. By the way, he was just about to descend on the Forgotten Lands. Previously, only Chuck knew about this. He explains that only 3 emperors have power. The Alliance will soon choose one of the 3. His father must rule the Forgotten Lands. Tommy warns that the generals will be against it. Chuck is sure that the little soldiers are powerless. He who has money has power. Tommy really enjoys talking about money, but there is something else that gives power. Ecstasy might sway Bridget to his side. Henry got by easily without ecstasy. He recorded the sounds while in the sewers. This helped to scare the girl. It's almost time for the ceremony. You just need to apply the pattern on your face. Even in this art, Henry was a genius. He could come up with a special slogan. With such a slogan, the ceremony will be more effective. The time was almost up, but the ritual was not completed. It was in vain that he came up with all sorts of stupid things. The system refuses to issue a reward. The slogan needs to be shouted much louder. You can't give up halfway. He decides to fulfill all the conditions. At this moment, a strange smell spreads throughout the room. Henry realizes that someone has dropped ecstasy here. The sly one didn't keep us waiting long. Chuck tells his friend to watch the door, but he soon realizes that the plan has failed. Ecstasy hit the wrong target. He got the wrong room door again. And yet Bridget was here. The question is what these two did. He demands an immediate explanation of what is going on. Henry can't say a word. The substance was too strong. Chuck decides to do it with the girl in front of Henry. He will declare himself the savior, blaming the guy for everything. In this way, the goal will be achieved. It would have been better if he had kept quiet about his plan. Henry uses all his power to summon the torrent. Then he suddenly falls down next to Bridget. If this guy screams again, people will come running here. Then everyone will know about Chuck's plan. He demands that the scoundrel be captured immediately. We can't let him escape. The bad news is that the system lied. At this point, a notification window appears. Henry completed the mission successfully. The sacrificial rite is considered complete. He has the right to expect a reward. But the damn system doesn't level up. He's still too weak compared to the others. The system offers to accept a new task. After completing it, the most powerful ability will be unlocked. Right now, Bridget's hidden talent is available to him. All this time, she had a hidden ability. He had long since surpassed her basic skills. The system starts enhancing the hidden talent. The database update will be completed soon. The guy notices how the indicator has increased. Within a minute, the upgrade was complete. Hidden talents have been completely updated. Now Henry has access to the entire list. Perhaps evolution will also be completed soon. The guy is destined for the primary treasure chest. The third set of radio gymnastics is now available. He decides to leave it for another day. Chuck doesn't understand what this psycho is mumbling about. Bridget begins to come to her senses. It's a pity that awakening falls at this time. She mustn't see Henry here. You will have to show one ability. He quickly throws aside the 2 idiots. There is no time to mess around with them for a long time. Chuck orders to grab him, but Tommy is too weak for that. After the attack, the indicators start to rise. Chuck decides to take it upon himself. Dealing with him is no more difficult than with Tommy. He easily throws it aside. It's time to play like adults. However, there was already someone behind the door. It was the voice of Lieutenant Niels. He asks to open the door and let him in. They're definitely done for if Niels shows up here. You need to think faster. Henry had already found a way to escape. He took care of this in advance. It was no coincidence that the energy-saving capsule was here. Bridget held the same capsule, and now Henry throws her in the direction of the idiots. They're in for some fun. As a parting gesture, the guy wishes you a great evening. The capsule immediately bursts into flames in the room. She releases the Bridget element. The dragon was the form of her element. Niels decides to knock down the door. He understands that something is wrong with the Major. This is the second meeting with Chuck in one day. True, last time he was without a knife. Apparently, one warning was not enough. A second blow might bring the bastard to his senses. Niels demands to know what he stuffed the girl with. He has all the evidence to prove Chuck's guilt. The element causes its owner to awaken. Chuck will definitely not escape punishment. However, the dragon is dangerous for everyone. In this state, the girl is also very dangerous. She declares that she will no longer be afraid. The lieutenant had never seen her like this. He orders the others to run away from here. Hell is about to break out here. The element is already beginning to manifest itself. The dragon bestows its power upon its owner. The officers had better hurry. Chuck begs for mercy. However, he deserves punishment. It's unlikely that the guy will want to meet again. He slightly underestimated the Major's abilities. If this continues, the hotel will be demolished. Niels orders everyone to leave the building immediately. Now the girl is too dangerous for others. It's a pity that Henry didn't know the dragon's true power. He would probably have kept it for himself. It's worth good money on the black market. However, the guy also has excellent skills. At this moment, something falls from above. A metal storage device appeared in my hands. There shouldn't be such objects in the sky. He decides to find out at the next meeting. Now we should return to the hotel. The girl at the reception doesn't notice him. Henry asks for a couple of minutes. I have to show my charm again. Sometimes this is the only way to gain someone's favor. By the way, those two idiots are already giving testimony. In any case, they will not tell the whole truth. Finding himself in an alley, he remembers the reward. There is an unopened chest waiting for the guy in the interface. There is something valuable in the chest. The artifact is capable of imbuing its owner with energy. He himself determines when he needs recharging. This little item is quite useful. The owner's hidden innate ability is extracted. The artifact will help in difficult times. Soon, Henry reaches home. Eleanor never saw her son. She fell asleep right at the table. However, Henry's footsteps woke her up. Eleanor left a piece of meat for dinner. The most delicious thing went to the son. There are only a few days left before the entrance exams. The guy hopes to enter a military university. He will raise the monetary contribution himself. By the way, the meat is really very tasty. He wants Mom to try it. Henry promises to transport them to the center. Soon they will be able to eat meat every day. Eleanor believes in his abilities, but still takes care of him like a child. Henry is now able to support his family. At this moment, a new task comes. He will have to prove his words with deeds. A real man must be responsible. You need to move forward and become braver. The system gives 3 days to earn $1 million. This was the new task. After completing the mission, the guy will get rich. To do this, you will have to rob a bank. There are 3 mission difficulty options. The highest difficulty is rewarded separately. The reward will be a fortune. True, you will have to pay a percentage of your winnings. There was only one answer to such a condition. However, there is no reason to refuse. To start, he chooses the normal difficulty. The reward will also be very ordinary, but for now this is quite enough. There are just a few questions. The answers to all questions are contained in the device. You just need to figure out how to get them out of there. The system is ready to help. She actually gives you a mission to rob a bank. The difficulty is still chosen by the player, but only high difficulty gives the best results. There is still a little time to think. He takes out a flash drive. There was only one encrypted folder. Henry easily cracks her password. The download will start in a second. Now he has access to the bank vault. It looks like a lot of factories. He notices a familiar emblem on the building. If Henry was right, the path led to a magnetic heap. The world was plunged into chaos due to magnetic fields. What if the system appointed him as the savior? He wants to find out everything properly. Dream Toy Factory may have a clue. It is related to the magnetic heap. There were reports of a supernatural incident. Witnesses spoke of a killer ghost. The first clue is a location on the map. The magnetic heap may be located at the factory. Henry decides to take the hammer with him. A heavy wrench wouldn't hurt either. A comfortable shovel is needed for burial, although the killer may indeed be a ghost. It's time for a quick dinner. The artifact was quite tasty. The whole body immediately feels cold. This is the first time something like this has happened to him. Within a second, the temperature rises to the limit. Maybe this pill is poisonous. Henry can't help but scream. It feels like he's dying. The system displays its indicators on the screen. He begins to guess about everything. Body parameters were completely normal. It turns out his body is simply getting used to the new thing. The guy asks to give him time. However, the process cannot be stopped. Soon, Henry will overcome the first human limit. This requires a little patience. Just hold on a little longer, and it will all be over. He decides to make a few moves. This helps to survive a sharp increase. It usually takes years for something like this to happen. The system congratulates the guy on his transition. He managed to move to the second human level. The sensations in the body change immediately. A stream of new energy envelops him. The body seems to be born anew. Henry is ready to begin a new phase of development. He quickly jumps up from the floor. The room smelled of something disgusting. It looks like the system is not telling us something. He urgently heads to the shower. It's better to wash off this crap right away. Already at this moment, changes appear. He realizes that he has become much stronger. Blood pressure and energy doubled. A person who has overcome the boundaries of the body becomes different. It is capable of extracting energy from various materials. Bridget is certainly capable of synthesizing energy. Now this opportunity is available to him too. You just need to get hold of a few granules of the medicine. Meanwhile, Bill is having fun in the room. No one knows about the deputy director's secret connections. This is real art. He pours wine directly on his mistress. At this moment, Lieutenant Niels calls. He distracts him with trifles again. There is more important work to do now than assignments. However, one cannot go against the director's order. Out of frustration, Bill smashes the furniture in the room. Niels knows how to ruin the mood. He was talking about some kind of attack on Bridget. This girl is always getting into trouble. Margaret asks not to be angry. Bill must find out about this incident. Looks like the Alliance wants the Forgotten Lands. Information about the Forgotten Lands has not yet been confirmed. The scouts fell silent, as if they were hiding something. Margaret hopes they will continue soon. She likes the way Bill does it. The man's creativity and technique are amazing. Next time, the girl won't accept refusals. She leaves the hotel room through the window. It's time to get down to business. He orders that his son be saved at any cost. Even if I have to kill everyone. A meeting is scheduled at headquarters for the next day. The lieutenant urgently summons the managers. He is tasked with finding out everything about the incident at the hotel. It is unclear how Henry got into someone else's room. Susie admits that she gave him the key. This third-year student looks to be 18 years old. He was looking for a meeting with Lieutenant Niels. Niels orders his location to be found out. No doubt Henry was given the dirty work. This guy is just a pawn in someone else's game. The officers have already arrived at his house. Henry was just about to go out. Mom won't worry after reading the note. We need to finish the task quickly. All the necessary tools were with you. However, the path is blocked by Teacher Tyrone. Henry looks too confused. It was as if he was about to do some renovations. I'll have to come up with excuses. Tyrone doesn't understand why the guy needs tools. He assures that it is not worth paying attention to. It's hard to believe. Henry talks about a huge rock next to the house. He is blocking the passage. We need to break him. This is the purpose for which tools are needed. Tyrone suspected something. The road repairs can wait. We need to walk a bit. The officers will help him with this. The teacher himself brought them to Henry. He believes that all charges will soon be dropped. Tyrone does this for his own good. Henry decides not to resist. The teacher is glad that everything went without any nonsense. Thus, Henry is detained by the military. He is under suspicion of assault. The headquarters was nearby. As he approaches, he hears loud voices. The board was waiting for his arrival at the meeting. Susie recognizes him immediately. She swears that the guy will not cause harm. This remains to be seen. Niels wants to know what the student knows. He does know why he was invited, right? In such a situation, you need to make up excuses, or answer that you don't know anything. But Henry was no ordinary man. He throws off his hiking backpack, and then he throws himself at the feet of Lieutenant Niels. The guy insists that he did not break the law. This brat was considered the best student. The director demands that he pull himself together. Bill believes that confessions will make things easier. He expects only the truth from Henry. First, we need to tell everything that was known. Then they will decide whether he is really guilty. Not a very tempting offer. But Henry decides to continue the performance. He is guilty of looking for easy ways. He entered the hotel through the back door. It was necessary to look for the lieutenant in another way. The lieutenant reminds us of the illegal entry. He broke into someone else's room. However, Henry did it for the sake of admission. He wanted to enlist Niels's support. Besides, there wasn't enough money to renew my number. The guy was forced to spend the night in another room. Bill asks to let go of his leg. He acts like a child, not like a soldier. Director Paul didn't expect this. He deserves only contempt. Bridget watches this from another room. It was this boy who tarnished her honor. He doesn't look like a terrorist at all. Director Paul gives him one last chance. The incident at the hotel was a simple misunderstanding. This time he was lucky. Bill believes that the lieutenant should lead the investigation. The case has already been opened. Lieutenant Niels won't leave him to his own devices. He will regret it if he was involved in the attack. This kind of pressure knocks the guy off his feet. He was clearly not used to man-to-man conversation. Niels demands to get up. The director immediately stands up for the guy. He was the best and deserved to be treated differently. But the lieutenant had seen many scoundrels. And yet Paul asks everyone to calm down. At this point, Susie takes the floor. It was she who revealed where Niels was staying. The girl takes all the blame on herself. In that case, you should let the guy go. He really does act like a boy, but this does not give the right to punish him. An assistant bursts into the hall. Major Bridget recently came to her senses. In addition, 2 witnesses testified. When they entered the room, Henry was already inside. It turns out that the lieutenant is right to suspect him. First, they should be interrogated personally. Bill completely agrees with this. Paul intends to personally monitor the progress of the case. Several people will guard the entrance. The rest of you should be on your guard. Only 2 people remain in the conference room. Niels warns that you will have to wait. The investigation will be completed. Then the whole truth will be revealed. And so we waited. Henry sees the 2 of them again. Chuck claims they entered the room too late. They found the girl unconscious. It was Henry who was next to her. As usual, the guy denies everything. He is sure that the students confused him with someone else. Chuck talks about the fight in the room. Henry brutally beat 2 students. Niels warns of the consequences of deception. He wants to hear the answer from the main suspect. It's funny, but he really doesn't understand anything. This answer is not suitable. You have to be deaf not to hear the noise behind the wall. He himself admitted that he lived next door to Bridget. There is less than a minute left until the end of the mission. The lieutenant finally loses his temper. However, the guy decides to change his testimony. All this time he was hiding something. But Lieutenant Niels was also caught in deception. Henry believes that Niels is covering for Chuck. He acts on the orders of his influential father. Otherwise, Henry would have been sent home long ago. The guy accuses the lieutenant of conspiring with Bill. They wanted to make him a scapegoat. Henry asks not to come near him. He calls loudly for help. Niels understands something. This bastard knows more than an ordinary student. Teacher Tyrone is the first to hear Henry's voice. Paul arrived on time. Now he knows Niels's working methods. The director demands that his student be released. As long as they are here, he is in no danger. In response, Henry throws his hand away. He no longer trusts anyone or anything. Paul insists that they have come to help. The mission timer is almost up. We'll have to use another method. He suddenly admits to all the lieutenant's accusations. The culprit of all troubles is already here. This confession can be considered a confession. Henry no longer wants to hide the truth. He shouldn't have done that. Tyrone thinks the student is a little crazy. Niels drove the guy crazy with his actions. Chuck asks to arrest the criminal. It's time for good news. Henry completes the mission and is worthy of the reward. He is rewarded with the Eye of Deprivation. This ability allows you to see through. It's a pity that the ability only lasts for 5 days. You can try to extend it. Bridget is still watching them. She doesn't believe that the student is crazy. The girl orders to bring a doctor. He will quickly shed light on the truth. Today everything will be revealed. In the meantime, Paul is trying to convince the lieutenant to come to his senses. The student needs medical attention. It's easy to arrange. Dr. Scott was already here on Bridget's orders. He will check the guy's mental state. The inspection will take some time. At the same time, Scott will examine the 2 victims. We need to make sure they are healthy. The guy claims that his psyche is normal. Unfortunately, such are Major Bridget's orders. Bill decides to help. The doctor has extensive experience in working with mental patients. Paul wants to know how the examination goes. You just need to ask them a couple of questions. Scott hopes the director trusts him. He has already proven his professional level. He had performed operations before. He was the chief surgeon at the military hospital. It would have been better if he hadn't said that. He demands that the boys stand in a row. Henry must pass this test. Maybe I should pretend to be crazy. Scott suggests pretending they are being stalked by a killer. They all ran to the bathroom. The exit is located under the filled bathtub. Nearby, they find an empty basin with a spoon. Chuck chooses an empty bowl first. This means that he is mentally ill. The guy asks the doctor to stop. Unlike him, Tommy chooses the spoon. The answer was also incorrect. It turns out that both friends were real psychopaths. Nobody understands what Dr. Scott's method is. It remains to hear the answer of the last patient. Henry doesn't choose any item in the bathroom. Then the doctor reminds him that he will die. The director demands that this circus be stopped. However, Henry decides to remove the plug from the bathtub. In this way, he will quickly empty it. There was silence in the room for a second. Well done, boy. This is the correct answer to the question. The doctor reports that he is completely healthy. This psychiatrist is a real professional. Chuck disagrees with this decision. It's unlikely that this will change Scott's assessment. By all indications, the young man is ill. This is a real blow for the father. All this time, the boy hid the illness from him. Bill needs to know what they will do with his child. He will be under strict supervision. Then the man recalls Henry's confessions. However, Bridget ordered him to be released. Finally, the guy is given a special phone. He must be available 24/7. Now there is time to search for the chest. Meanwhile, Major Bridget is in the office. She never knew the truth. The girl wants to understand whether the encounter with the rat was a nightmare. She's going to find out this evening. This was not quite an ordinary phone. Someone often thinks about Henry. Perhaps he has made a powerful enemy. The director asks him to take care of his health. Exams are coming soon. The best student must set an example. Unfortunately, it is only good in theory. In practice, this guy was still weak. Walking down this street is not as easy as it seems. Here, love for an hour is offered everywhere. However, Henry has no time for love now. The taxi has been waiting for the guy for a long time. He asks to go just a few blocks. The taxi driver notices his unusual bag. Soon the man will learn something else unusual. The young man no longer seems safe. You certainly don't expect this. The radio announcer asks everyone to remain vigilant. An anomaly was noticed near the psychiatric clinic. The taxi driver understands why the student came here. He wants to personally explore the anomalous area. Although you don't need a hammer for this, Henry explains that tools are needed for work. He plans to do some minor repairs. The roads in these areas are too dangerous. The man tries to hide his fear. He decides not to charge money for the ride. Finally, he gets out of the car. The taxi driver immediately presses the gas pedal to the floor. Perhaps the kind taxi driver is a Buddhist. He gives people free rides at night. All this time, Bridget was following the car. Her partner has no time for night races now. He is forced to justify his failure to Bill. The lieutenant explains that many do not want to work with the League. Then Bill will have to look for another partner. Niels has been making mistakes lately. To make matters worse, the lieutenant hangs up. Bill had never seen such rudeness. He is sure that Niels will come crawling on his knees. In the meantime, we need to be patient. At the same time, Margaret is staying with the elder. She wants to know what has been decided regarding the explosives. There is only one answer: we need to blow everything up. It will be hot in a mental hospital. Bridget quickly disguises herself as a local patient. She fit the role of a psychopath perfectly. Henry should arrive soon. By the way, here he is. She notices this strange guy with a backpack. All that's left is to scare him. The girl rushes towards him. It's a pity she confused him with a real patient. This guy, on the contrary, was much scarier. The whole hospital hears her frightened scream. Henry hears it too. I had to deal with the big guy. Bridget doesn't like being scared. She understands where the target is heading now. Henry has already infiltrated the toy factory. The atmosphere here is not at all childish. He just wants to finish the job and leave. Wandering through dark corridors isn't very pleasant. Suddenly something rushes nearby. The creature attacks from somewhere above. The guy didn't regret taking the hammer. It was a simple stray cat. He decides to hide his face behind a mask in case of surveillance. Henry was not wrong about this. Two guys are watching his movements. Jim orders the actors to go on stage. The guys were already waiting for a new assignment. They'll get rid of the little bastard quickly. Everything is ready for the start of the performance. The lead actor announces a new assignment. One more person needs to be killed. Deep down, each of them was kind. But today we need to change the role. After a while, a noise was heard in the corridor. These can't be hallucinations. Something suddenly appears in front of him. The creature really does look like a ghost. At least the person looks different. You need to overcome your fear. He decides to attack first. A hammer is unlikely to kill a ghost. However, it's still worth a try. Everything is as expected. Instead of a ghost, there lies a common bastard here. You can't do something like this without warning. The other ghosts will appear soon too. The robot informs that there will be no big reward. The system is leading him by the nose again. Still, Henry managed to get something. There were a lot of valuable things found in the bastard's pocket. We need to find his friends quickly. At the same time, the dark priest contacts his subordinate. He hasn't been in touch for a long time. The priest decides to go outside himself. There were sounds coming from somewhere around here. He notices their new victim. There was only one question. Which of these two was the real victim? The priest doesn't seem so scary anymore. He is of special value to Henry. It is impossible to run far. Soon the target was caught and killed. With such opportunities, you can get rich quickly. He understands that corpses need to be buried, but that will take too much time. It is better to bury several corpses at once. 2 of them arrived on time. The clown promises to avenge the death of his brothers. Here come the new contenders. It's good when money just comes into your hands. 2 more daredevils have been eliminated. It's nice to be invincible. Now money comes too easily to him. He decides to go inside the building. This place resembles an abandoned barracks. There was a smell of blood everywhere here. Perhaps it's worth looking for another place. However, we must not let our guard down. You can become someone's prey yourself. Henry swings the hammer with all his might. He came to his senses in time. The ghost stands aside for a while. She forgot to wash the blood off the toy. However, you can simply tear it apart. Henry decides to rush into the attack again. No one has ever stood before his hammer. Suddenly, the target appears right behind you. The guy starts swinging the hammer. But all this time, he fights only with air. This is not funny anymore. The ghost is different from its fellows. She looks like a crazy loner. Henry realizes that he is facing a real psychopath. The hammer can be put away for the time being. The guy decides to act differently. He invites the girl to play something. In response, she asks him to dance with her a little, or at least clap your hands. This was his chance. She has let her guard down and is now open. You need to look at its characteristics. The new ability could scan skills. Soon he notices a strange feature. She doesn't look like a ghost at all. Damn it, it's Bridget. But why did she hide her identity? The girl still continues to play the role. She suggests dancing a little. Henry decides to play along with her. I wonder where this circus will lead. Everyone in the CCTV room is still asleep. An alarm clock will easily fix this. It's time for another report. There are some things you need to see first. Charlie didn't expect to see something like this. His friend wants to see it too. Two psychopaths dance in the dark. It is unclear why the ghosts left them alone. However, they no longer pose a problem. There's clearly something wrong with these two. Killing ghosts is not as easy as it seems. Jim demands to be reported about this incident. Henry continues to act like an idiot. He doesn't know what this girl is up to. In any case, she won't get her way. Suddenly, Henry speaks his thoughts out loud. This immediately exposes him to Bridget. There is no use in hiding the truth now. She wants to know who sent the guy after her. Now every word could be a mistake. A hammer works much better than words. Bridget easily blocks the blow. We must not forget about its true level. She instantly subjugates metal. 2 attacks on the major will end in prison. Now the hammer looks like a cannonball. We need to get out of here quickly. It is foolish to count on such an easy salvation. It is impossible to escape in shackles. The guy realizes what he's gotten himself into. You can say a few words to him before saying goodbye. However, he asks to spare the fool. He is still too young to say goodbye to life. Besides, they have guests. Besides Bridget, there were other energy warriors. Roy hadn't encountered such an ability for a long time. The hardware control was truly impressive. Her dragon could cause problems for anyone. Henry insists that he has nothing to do with it. Of course, otherwise he would be dead. This is the first time Emily meets such a young warrior. Although 3 of us will be able to handle her easily, Roy decides to start a polite dialogue. It is not yet clear what he is trying to achieve. It feels like the guy is getting ready for something. A second later, he begins his attack. The Iron Dragon becomes the main target. It will be interesting to see this. The pet instantly blocks the attack. It's easy to go blind from such bright light. And yet something can be made out. This is a real battle between energy warriors. True, you can't call her honest. Major Bridget faces 3 men. The robot offers to take on another task. Perhaps he can be helped. The system will throw something nasty at him again. She always breaks her promises. The guy is asked to choose a level. The most difficult level is now available. The reward will be equally significant. Perhaps this was a chance for rapid development. Suddenly there is an explosion behind Henry. He turns sharply to the side. The Iron Dragon becomes even stronger. But even the hardest iron can be melted. Roy is likely able to manipulate magnesium. Even the Iron Dragon will be melted. Bridget only uses normal iron energy. The Iron Dragon is on the verge of turning into a spirit. A little more and the transformation will be complete. This seemed impossible before. Roy slightly underestimated his opponent. Now it has become excellent food for the dragon. The energy warrior was killed in a couple of moments. It remains to be seen who is next. Douglas decides to show the last of his strength. This may be his last fight. After the explosion, the smell of sulfur spread. This old man knows how to surprise. It is no coincidence that Douglas was a member of the Alliance. In a matter of seconds, the dragon was captured. Douglas immobilized his iron body. No iron is immune to corrosion. Bridget's element is too vulnerable. These two controlled sulfur and copper. It's stupid to enter into a fight with such fighters. The dragon is useless against their elements. But that's not all Bridget can do. The dragon is just one of the girl's elements. Other tricks are much more interesting. She breaks the energy capsule. In this form, the girl resembles the Metal Princess. Henry learns a lot of new things about her. It's better to make a strategic retreat. We need to run away before it's too late. Although death is already prepared for these cunning people, it changes the property of the metal. The Iron Dragon is covered in gold. Emily is still trying to do something. Her energy is too weak. The dragon throws her far to the side. This is Bridget's main surprise. It was necessary to think about the consequences in advance. It was a good thing Henry wasn't the Major's enemy. Otherwise, the same thing would have happened to him. Emily understands how this will all turn out. Maybe we should stop Bridget. But a new iron creature appears behind. It doesn't resemble the previous dragon. Emily promises the old man 5 nights in exchange for saving him. A tempting offer. However, in reality, you will have to face a golden giant. The rest of the work will have to be done by the guy. He must prove his suitability. Henry didn't like being used. He himself is capable of choosing his own target. Emily would be a good target. Jim must have been expecting something else. His fat friend is already dialing the boss's number. He reports a break-in at the factory. 2 of the strongest fighters are dead. As usual, Margaret spends the night at Bill's estate. She reports Bridget's appearance on the territory. Bill has long dreamed of working with the Union. If their representative dies, they can forget about it. There is a great opportunity for Bill. He can prove his strength in practice. The factory is full of various explosives. It is possible to kill Bridget while keeping her death a secret. This opportunity cannot be missed. After thinking for a bit, Bill finally agrees. Meanwhile, things are getting worse for Emily. It seemed that Henry was determined to help her. However, the key was not needed for combat at all. With this key, he only saves his life. With one blow, the guy breaks the shackles. He flees, leaving her alone. The golden giant takes up the matter. Henry doesn't want to interfere. The easiest way to leave the plant is through the sewers. He has long been trained in such tricks. Bridget isn't one to let you get away with it. If necessary, she will dive into the sewer herself. Princesses don't usually go to places like this. The guy decides that his mission is over. But this is only his wish. Reality is always less pleasant. He notices that he is being followed. If she is here, the guy demands to come out into the light. Bridget understands that this is a real challenge. She decides to accept this offer. She still had many elements at her disposal. One of them was already almost close to the guy. He hears the sound of footsteps behind him. Her energy took the form of new beings. Several of these creatures immediately sat on my tail. Henry must hurry if he wants to survive. Iron dogs are already everywhere. They surround all the exits from the sewers. At some point, their leader caught the scent. Now it is clear where to look for the fugitive. This devil was able to endow metal with consciousness. Someday he will learn to do the same. Now it's time to think about safety. The meeting with the Major does not bode well. Her pets will tear the guy to pieces. The goal was close, but he was out of luck. Instead of finding a way out, Henry found himself in a dead end. Who put these damn boxes here? However, this is no longer important now. She warned how these games would end. She gives the guy 10 seconds to confess. He will tell why he entered her room. Suddenly, the girl realizes that she is ahead. She demands to run away from here immediately. But it's too late to do anything. The boxes were tightly packed with explosives. A second later, the plant was engulfed in flames. It's strange that the guy manages to survive. He is still trying to run further away from the explosion. At this moment, Bridget activates the ability. She envelops the guy in a protective layer. Thanks to the barrier, he manages to save his life. Just recently, she tried to kill him. And now he spends his last strength on saving him. The cocoon provides reliable protection from any impact. Otherwise, they would have burned in the fire long ago. The shockwave hits the iron dogs. It's a bit cramped for two people to be in a cocoon. This is already the third attack on the Major. This time she will strangle him with her own hands. Henry has heard death threats many times. However, in reality, she saves his life. There are 5 minutes left until the task is completed. A woman's heart is truly fickle. The guy asks not to blame him for being ruthless. But he had one more surprise in store. He knows the Major's childhood fears very well. There is something that all girls are afraid of. The rat is already prepared under the sweatshirt. After all, they are in the sewers. It's easy to get a couple of these creatures here. Then he feels for the wrench with his hand. There's only 1 second left. This will be enough for the final blow. The blow from the heavy key hits straight to the head. You can't be so cruel to a girl. Bridget wasn't prepared for this. She instantly loses consciousness. The system congratulates the guy on completing the mission. The robot believed that he would succeed. Henry deserves a high award. In addition, he is allowed to spin the roulette wheel. There is a 10% chance of hitting the jackpot. In times of danger, you need to take on more tasks. The boy is given silk as a reward. He almost died for the sake of a piece of cloth. The robot thinks that this is not simple silk. Besides, there was one pill left in stock. The pill enhances all 5 human senses. She is capable of doubling any of these feelings. You can try it right now. Although it is wiser to keep the pill in reserve. This bonus already looks like a reward. The problem is that the girl is still unconscious. You don't have to be a real gentleman. Sometimes you have to be tough. In this form, Bridget will definitely not cause any problems. Henry decides to test his artifact. He swallows the pill and waits for the effect. 1 minute passes, then a few more minutes. You can lie here forever. Suddenly he hears very loud footsteps. They are under tons of rocks. Where are the steps coming from? Suddenly vision becomes 10 times sharper. He begins to see what is happening in the distance. Even birds of prey do not have such keen eyesight. The two immediately seemed familiar. Margaret can search for the body if she asks Billy. Henry hears every word clearly. They are 10 kilometers from here. This is what happens when the soul is purified. It was the pill that had the property of purification. Billy asks for 10,000 for the first contribution to the union. Margaret agrees to help her lover. She will send 2 people instead of herself. The girl herself is sent to a psychiatric hospital. There must be a secret passage around here somewhere. Margaret finds it in the wall without any difficulty. It's amazing how many secret hideouts there are here. It turns out that the underground plant conceals something else. It was built on the grounds of a psychiatric hospital. Henry suddenly realizes that the factory was a decoy. It was no accident that the explosives ended up in a dead end. Margaret is dating a certain gentleman. It's hard to tell whether it's a man or a woman. It might be worth taking a closer look. The hood seems to hide the appearance of a monster. The dark entity does not look human. The real underground factory is located in that shelter. This means that the magnetic heap should be there too. The system notifies you when your stamina level increases. The guy decides to head to the underground shelter. The pipe can be connected to it. In that case, it's worth a try. But the problem with Bridget is not yet solved. It would be bad if the girl was found like this. Finally, he takes all of her capsules. It was a mistake for him to speak his thoughts out loud. She pretends not to hear anything. In fact, the Major was much more experienced. She remembers the path Henry takes. He has a map of the underground plant at his disposal. Suddenly, strange changes occur in the body. He feels a weakening of energy. Mental strength dropped by 60 units. The viewing radius needs to be made a little smaller. It's better to keep the view at 10 meters. This way he will be able to save more energy. Once Henry reaches the shelter, he will go all the way to the factory. Rest also helps to preserve strength. Suddenly waves spread through the underground passage. It looks like someone is digging deep underground. The sounds resemble the construction of a mine. The magnetic heap may be somewhere nearby. It's worth going to the excavations yourself. Then Henry will be able to see for himself. During his rest period, he has time to gain strength. The move didn't take much time. Around 2 o'clock in the morning, it will be time to act. The mission with Major Bridget added to the progress. We need to wait until there are fewer workers. 2 guys invite their friends to relax. You can relax a little after work. They were completely exhausted after the whole day. It's time to act. The girl feels vibrations on Henry's body. He really has spiritual power. It will take her 3 seconds to free herself. But without her capsules, she is powerless. She decides to wait until the guy leaves. The trouble is that Henry is very calculating. Just in case, he repeats the blow. Now Bridget will definitely not cause trouble. In this form, it is quite safe. It's not scary if she suddenly dies along the way. The guy will have time to cover his tracks. However, the system reports the Major's position. She is a member of the Union and should not die. Besides, the girl will still be useful. And now the robot reminds us of the beginning of the mission. It's already 2 o'clock in the morning, which means the time has come. After a couple of minutes, the hatch in the mine opens. A guy with a key appears next to the workers. The key is not needed for repairs at all. He wields this instrument like a true master. It's strange, but his powers are weakened here. There should be enough of them to excavate the pile. This is the only way to make a fortune. At this moment, a male voice sounds from behind. The third worker demands to answer questions. Henry explains that he wants to work overtime. He doesn't mind digging the mine alone. The rest of you can go to bed peacefully. Great, the cheap trick worked. Now we can get back to work. With such zeal, he will bury himself. After 4 hours, Henry stops. The 2 are still unconscious. In fact, he was also very tired. If nothing can be found within an hour, the guy will return tomorrow. The miner appears nearby again. He decided that he would be the first to go on shift. It's strange that the guys start their shift so early. The entire group of workers is already on their feet. It's too risky to stay in their company. At this moment, one of the guys notices the ore. The ore stone lies right under your feet. He was very lucky today. True, the find will have to be shared. Henry didn't dig here all night for nothing. He dug this ore with his own hands. It's better not to take away what's due to him. By the way, selling a stone is much easier. There will be people willing to buy it here. The worker offers 1,000 coins for this item. It seems he decided to rob Henry. He doesn't understand who he's dealing with. The real price of the stone is no less than 300,000. That's a fortune for just one item. The cunning man deserves punishment. Henry quickly shows what lies can mean. 1 blow is enough. Henry is ready to give everyone 1 blow with the shovel. The same fate awaits everyone else. The worker takes out the panic button. There will be a whole team here soon. The mine robber must be punished. A valuable reward is promised to the one who copes with the impudent man. There were many people who wanted to receive the prize. However, the guy can do more than just dig with a shovel. This young man was too strong. Even a crowd of workers may not be enough. The foreman decides to take the bastard on himself. He activates his best ability. With such an opponent, this is not enough. Henry easily cools his ardor. The big guy was killed with 1 blow in front of the workers. Killing people is no more difficult than digging a hole. Once the human limit is surpassed, everything changes. Henry could have fought until the morning. There is only one equal opponent. Everything changes when it comes to energy warriors. At such moments, it is better to flee, especially if it's not too late. He manages to create a protective dome. The right decision if you are under attack. Walter has been watching the newcomer for a long time. He promises that he won't get away with anything like that. This old man looks like an energy fighter. The guy manages to dive into the open hatch. A second later, he finds himself in an underground tunnel. However, Bridget managed to escape. How did she manage to do this? By the way, you can ask about this in person. Bridget first suggests playing a game. Whoever dies first loses. She had already put his life in danger. Bridget believes it was the other way around. The robot prompts you to press the button in time. He knocks without hesitation with all his might. It appears inside the interface. The guy just needs to hold out until dawn. Having fulfilled the condition, he will complete the mission. Now you need to convince the girl to put down the knife. You can tell a story from your childhood, although it is unlikely to melt her heart. The guy tries to pull himself together. I think I've come up with a great idea. However, the robot had already thought of everything for him. I'll have to spoil his face a little. This is the only way to guarantee survival. A real rockfall begins from above. Walter falls from above, breaking through the stone ceiling. It's good that the boy has an accomplice. The man is ready to fight two at once. However, he doesn't understand what he's gotten himself into. Henry has no intention of wasting time. He always attacks first when he has the opportunity. The blow from the shovel hits him right in the face. It's a wonder Walter hasn't fallen yet. He took the blow too easily. Not bad for an old man. In general, a shovel should not leave wounds. Henry controls his iron energy. In response to his words, he tries again. This time the blow is stronger. The boy allows himself too much. After 2 hits, he has no intention of stopping. Henry finishes off his lying opponent. This is already too cruel. The guy is clearly showing signs of being awakened. An ordinary fighter can't handle him. At the very least, a whole army is needed. A new group of fighters descended upon the mine. There were still people hiding in the factory. Looks like there's a lair here. Major Bridget won't leave without answers. Walter was just one of a group of thugs. The girl allows Henry to live a little longer. It's a pity, but it won't be possible to call for help. They will have to work as a team. She suggests that he attack first. Suddenly Henry falls to his knees. He has already suffered too much. In this form he is not able to help in any way, unless perhaps return the capsules to the owner. They are quite useful right now. Bridget must fight the battle alone. Walter took the risk of going forward in vain. The girl sends the bastard on a long flight. It would be great if the system gave a hint. It would be even better if the difficulty level were lower. The robot reminds that Bridget is not so weak. She can withstand a duel against an entire squad. But right now there is a chance to increase the level. After completing the task, his level will double. He has already experienced a lot. Each mission was completed successfully, so why not give it a try? Suddenly the boy feels his connection with metals. He prepares to attack in full view of his opponents. Henry is trying his best, but Bridget is not impressed. All his blows resemble friendly kicks. We need to fight much harder. She summons the giant robot again. This is really impressive. After a second, the body changes appearance. Bridget takes things to the next level. She has never been seen in this form before. It's a pity that the guy is hiding behind the girl's back. She can give him abilities. To do this, you need to confess something. She wonders how he found out about the magnetic heap. By answering honestly, the girl will give him strength. However, you can do this right away. Henry realizes that everything around him is changing. The appearance becomes different, as do his feelings. A moment later, he sees his new appearance. The boys have no intention of watching silently. The leader is the first to attack. Bridget seems to be underestimating them a little. So much the worse for her. At first it seems like she controls magnesium. Actually, it was lithium. She uses it to store electricity. Bridget is known to use gold elements. How long will her energy last? This will become clear very soon. True, the leader won't be happy. There is enough strength to deal with him. He managed to feel the full force of the blow. This is only a small part of her power. It's stupid to waste all your energy on weaklings. The second blow falls on his friend. With this idiot, everything is much simpler. 2 out of 4 killed with 1 blow. It's strange that Henry hadn't noticed this before. Another fighter appears behind the guy. In this position, Henry is too vulnerable. It's bad when you don't have a strong friend nearby. You'll have to experience the electric shock yourself. The current source was nearby. Henry had never experienced such pain before. We can assume that he is not long for this world. The guy intends to finish off the brat personally. He was a little hasty in his conclusions. The shovel had saved his life many times before. The golden armor did its job. There is a layer of secret material inside the armor. That's why the current didn't kill the guy. The time has come for a counterattack. He himself asked for a duel to the death. In a second, someone will activate the copper control. Then the guy finds himself in a giant paw. Bridget's iron assistant carried out her will. She saves his life for the second time. Bridget managed to eliminate 10 fighters. With such an iron friend, it's much easier. He may never reach her level. However, now it is worth thinking about something else. They are surrounded by dozens of the strongest fighters. Even a golden giant couldn't cope with such a crowd. A familiar old man appears in the distance. Rudolph regrets that everything turned out this way. Bridget doesn't understand what he's doing here. This old man has been playing a dark game for a long time. He asks to let the captains make their move. The elder asks to wait a little with this. Whatever happened, the shovel was with me. Bridget won't be an easy target either. Rudolph asks to hurry with making a decision. The elder orders us to keep our mouths shut. However, the girl really was a threat. A second later, a new attack follows. She manages to notice it in time. It's foolish to expect an easy victory. Bridget grabs the blade of the dagger with her hand. The idiot flies away along with his toy. This girl has some kind of developed skill. He decides to show off his signature trick. Several fighters at once go on the attack. Those guys in black can cause trouble. There are at least 20 people here. Bridget must take them on. She can definitely handle the pressure. Henry's job is to bring the lieutenant, but he refuses to leave her alone. He wants to fight side by side with her. It's better not to know what Henry is really thinking. He really overcame his fear. This deserves respect. Bridget breaks the energy capsule. The new staff will be put to use. It is difficult to say what the alloy of the rod is made of. The fight promises to be exciting. As long as she lives, the golden armor will protect Henry. With these words, the Major rushes into the attack. Today she is confronted by a whole crowd. Bridget has her abilities and experience on her side. The daredevil decides to repeat her grabbing trick. He deeply regretted it. The weapon's unique alloy leaves a hole in the body. He won't be able to get up again. Melinda orders to wear her out. She must spend all her strength. This is the only way to discover her vulnerability. This advice didn't help anyone. Every fighter was eliminated. However, the bastard used his clones. All this time, Henry remains on the sidelines. Melinda notices him from afar. Perhaps he could become an energy fighter. But at the moment, it is almost impossible. There are at least 30 minutes left until dawn. Melinda orders everyone to attack together. Clones instantly surround the target. They won't be able to do this. Bridget pushes into the air with all her might. Now the encirclement was useless. It activates the power increase. Beams of energy cut through opponents like razors. At this moment, Melinda appears behind. She uses her signature technique. Bridget was just not ready. Now only Henry can soften the blow. He gets here just in time. The guy is destined to take the hit. It takes Henry a while to come to his senses. We need to find out if Bridget is alive. The first part of the plan was executed perfectly. Melinda orders to finish the attack. Rudolph is already ready to carry out the order. The same thing happened as when the metal was first mined. The energy was dissipated by enormous pressure. All energy fighters extract energy from ore, but this energy is different from the energy of the elements. Energy needs to be purified from impurities in order to be converted into material. It is magnetism that can help with this. Meanwhile, the golden robot is fighting. He's doing quite well. Its owner's strength is already running out. Henry can help renew your energy. The laws of magnetism will help to control it. Bridget must help find the ore deposit. She will try to do everything in her power. Until then, the guy will fight back. He behaves like a real warrior. All enemy forces are directed against Henry. Bridget promises to return with an answer. Her golden pet will provide support. Rudolph understands what they are hoping for. The girl went in search of magnetic ore. Soon Bridget returns with great news. The place has been found, but it may disappear. Unfortunately, the concentration of magnetic ore does not last forever. Rudolph demands that they be stopped before the ore deposits are destroyed. You have to believe that it is possible. A bad girl can ruin everything. All thanks to her new boyfriend. The boss orders to kill 2 insolent people. Melinda is the best one to handle this. She has high elemental control. You can't rely on anyone but yourself. Bridget is ready to take the brunt of the blow. A moment later, everyone finds themselves at the same point, but now they have a common problem. The magnetic field is about to explode. No one can survive such an explosion. The field charge is too strong. You can see more with the eye of deprivation. Henry sees all the energy of the magnetic field. It is similar to the energy of a black hole. Time is running out. He decides to turn the magnetic field into ore. Bridget realizes that this is impossible. There are also other obstacles. She manages to create an energy block. However, Melinda manages to release a powerful charge. Melinda wants the same thing as Bridget, but the means to achieve the goal were different. This place will soon become their grave. A new star is born to replace the old one. Suddenly, the girl notices something surprising. Henry actually managed to tame the field. It's hard to believe what's happening. He manages to completely subjugate energy. The guy commands her like a master. Finally, he understood what the system meant. Without a medium, energy fighters are weak. The field's energy is controlled only by the fighter with the medium. Henry turned out to be just such a fighter. Another minute later, an explosion is heard. Until recently, this was impossible to believe. An ordinary student is the strongest warrior. Henry hopes he didn't hurt her. The air cannon suddenly turned into a bomb. Apparently, he can control oxides. At this moment, a new creature appears. She looks like a heavenly angel. The celestial being Mushifa appeared only because of Henry. She wants to know how the guy did it. Near a celestial, the power of blows increases. He never misses an opportunity to shoot. The last agents come under fire. Rudolph almost lost his head. The guns had almost completely exhausted it. However, spiritual strength became even greater. Henry feels his power. With this power, he will achieve everything. But the guy's method is a little strange. He decides to do some exercises. Previously, he wanted to live a modest life. But today I became an energy warrior. The student is indeed telling the truth. This confession is not to the liking of the Celestials. Mushifa intends to show who's the fighter here. She decides to finish off the little upstart. In response, Henry begins his attack. Mushifa manages to create an energy core. It almost reaches the target. The guy activates the defense in time. Now it's his turn to develop the pressure. The magnetic field gives incredible power. Huge boulders rush towards the celestial being. It would be better if she stayed in heaven. It will be difficult to keep yourself alive. It's hard to believe he killed a deity. The energy funnel says the opposite. Mushifa reminds that the ore deposits have disappeared. There is no source left in this place. It turns out that Henry is now without power. He always responds to threats with the middle finger. She is right about one thing. Energy is really dwindling. We need to find another source. Suddenly he feels attracted. It's as if something is pulling him in. The attraction is no less than in a black hole. The hole begins to slowly approach. It is capable of drawing in all space. You need to hold on tighter. The attraction is growing stronger with every second. At that moment, an explosion is heard. He miraculously manages to survive. Henry falls onto something very soft. I think it was Bridget. The guy urgently needs her main skill. The system drained his last strength. It is unclear how they will manage to escape. A second later, everything is illuminated by light. It's hard to see anything in the clouds of dust. He notices an alien liquid substance. She stayed here after the explosion. Is someone playing tricks? A strange laugh can be heard nearby. The substance begins to take on human form. He bears a striking resemblance to Henry himself. You could say it's his alien clone. A special form of intelligent life has emerged from space. It arose on the site of magnetic ore. The creature looks unfriendly. The field took the last remnants of strength. Henry becomes an easy target. It looks like he has found an assistant. The cat rushes to the boy's defense. Where did the wild cat come from here? He was probably following them. Even an alien is inferior to him in strength. This is the cruelest cat he has ever met. The cat changes the shape of the alien substance. It's much more appetizing in the form of fish. You can just eat it whole. It's better not to have such cats at home. However, now the baby saved his life. It feels like the cat was poisoned by a substance. It sheds its fur quickly. The cat's survival spirit was at its peak. Suddenly the cat stops. He begins a new phase of attack. The target becomes the one he saved a minute ago. Did Henry do something wrong? He certainly doesn't look like a pet. A blow this strong can kill. Next time the blow will be even stronger. The guy lies motionless for a while. He was awakened by the iron voice of the robot. It reminds you of access to 2 lotteries. The system recently sent a new notification. An explosion is expected in 10 seconds. There is no way to rest. We need to save ourselves. The beating by the talking cat did not go unnoticed. My head hurt as if I had been drinking yesterday. He sees Bridget in front of him again. This time 2 more medicines dropped. The guy gives one of them to the girl. It is difficult to give medication to unconscious people. He decides to perform artificial respiration. Mouth to mouth, that will help. At the moment of awakening, the girl notices something. The boy comes at her with kisses. He just wanted to wake her up. A powerful blow follows in response. Usually people thank you for your concern in a different way. Henry came to his senses before Bridget. He explains that he wanted to give her medicine. Then it's worth explaining whose doing this is. She still has a lot to learn. The guy is much stronger than she thinks. Someday she will get to his secrets. And now an officer has reached them. Kurt is already waiting for the girl nearby. She promises to tell you everything later. Henry decides to go with them. We need to do everything as quickly as possible. Kurt, as usual, hesitated. He remains far behind. Perhaps the League will give the guy an award. After graduating from university, a position awaits him. It's strange that she talks about this. Today, Bridget looked at him in a new way. An urgent event took place in the morning. Students are gathered at the sports ground. This conference determines a lot. The director asks for a moment of attention. Paul is unable to calm the young people down. Niels will do it much better. He claims to have had a better opinion of the students. Now the lieutenant sees a pile of pathetic scum. They showed the worst result this year. The Alliance decided to remove the director. The new director will take office soon. This news is causing a stir. It is unclear why Director Paul was fired. Mr. Bill becomes the next director. The floor is given to him. The student council president has a question. He doesn't understand what mistakes Mr. Paul made. Last night, Paul covered for the errant students. This offense is punishable by resignation. Paul's personal interests led to problems. Then the student wants to know where Henry is. After that incident with the major, the guy was killed. The second terrible news of the day. The students lost their idol. Bill decides to lighten the mood a little. At this moment, the sound of a motorcycle is heard. It's hard to tell who arrived at the site. The driver apologizes for being late, but some things came up along the way. The student's appearance did not please everyone. Henry is ready to attend the meeting. Teacher Tyrone has already come to terms with the loss. Apparently, Lieutenant Niels lied. He still has to explain it. Bridget prepares to say a few words. She asks for Henry to be accepted into the alliance. The guy proved his strength. The statement ruined all the plans of these two. Tyrone doesn't understand where he was last night. Actually, Henry helped an army platoon. He personally killed a couple of hundred criminals. That's why Bridget is advocating for him. The girls fell in love with him even more. He was already the best student, and now he becomes a real hero. Bridget asks to begin the awards ceremony. It looks like Paul will keep his job. The lieutenant reminds her that she is just a student. Bridget has no right to decide for the alliance. Niels has official government permission. However, there is something more serious. For example, a document with confirmation from the consul. The Forgotten Lands Division is transferred to Bridget. She will be the next leader. At the same time, Niels is deprived of his title. Bridget has a couple of questions for him. However, the lieutenant does not agree with this decision. He did a lot for the alliance and the country. No one doubts his good intentions, but it's worth thinking about the Forgotten Lands. The lieutenant was tired of listening to this nonsense. Fools only profit from the alliance. None of them are worthy of being in it. Such accusations do not go unpunished. The shovel is already flying towards the lieutenant's face. Only one person wields it perfectly. The lieutenant takes too many liberties. We need to be kinder to people. Now students can rest easy. However, Niels is still furious. Two officers decide to calm him down. Bridget appreciated her new friend's skill. It's all over for Mr. Bill. He will have to answer in court. Kurt will personally submit the petition to the department. This guy deserves a big reward. People need hope. He can give it. True, the reward amount is too high. This amount is usually awarded to energy warriors. Bridget is sure that he is such a warrior. Henry only recently found out about this. In that case, she is right. All that remains is to calm down the most violent opponents. The lieutenant demands that he be released. He is too valuable to the alliance. Bridget should remember his merits. Niels is right. He accomplished a lot in his position. But the question of the Forgotten Lands is too important. There are heroes among those people too. After the alliance's withdrawal, devastation began there. People in the Forgotten Lands are oppressed like slaves. But these lands were the cradle of the alliance. The population is decreasing every year. They have no right to allow tragedy to occur. The lieutenant is wrong to consider them cowards. At that moment, Niels finally understood something. Henry can become a guide to those parts. By the way, the reward was not long in coming. Kurt personally honored him. Bridget asks not to forget about the competitors. The guy is no slouch, but they are hot on his heels. Kurt could be such a competitor, and yet he did a great job. Money is just a nice bonus. They easily fly away in the wind. Henry manages to cover them with his hand in time. It's better to hug them closer to your chest. The smell of money can sometimes drive you crazy, especially if you earned them honestly. The guy gets a chest as a reward. He can top up his balance. But first you have to pay the down payment. A new mission also costs money. Henry will have to get used to the attention of girls. Everyone wants to get a photo together. It's hard to understand why he's crying. In fact, money is needed for something else. It's a pity that the system is so greedy. He decides to go on a random mission. However, the system issues a refusal. First, you need to complete the test assignment. He slightly underestimated her cunning. And her commercialism too. Fortunately, the path to the goal is just beginning. As part of the goal, he must show off his charm. The system grants the Braveheart skill. There are no problems with physical data. The test for students starts right now. He may lose his chance of getting the highest passing score. Someone is in a hurry to take a photo with him. Henry has no time for nonsense now. The fans can wait. I need to get things done. Girls also want a photo with their idol. Well, I'll have to give in to them. By midday, the energy level had already increased sharply. After the night battle, the indicators changed. The pill increases strength by 1 level. Today, he will be able to overcome the limit of his capabilities. Henry decides not to delay this. With each increase, the growth limit decreases. Finally, there will be a new breakthrough. The breakthrough happens much earlier. Not everyone can survive this. You need to have the will to withstand the promotion. The system did not warn about this. This pill is like a capsule of spiritual energy. He feels his spirit growing stronger. Drowsiness is a side effect. Meanwhile, life in the Forgotten Lands continues. There are stray cats everywhere here. The main one is announced from today. The former leader does not agree to share the throne. He attacks the imposter. You can't be so naive. You can pay for this with your life. This will be an example for everyone. The other cats should remember this. The fat cat can fly very well, especially if you help him with it. The white cat slowly descends. In 3 days, the showdown will begin here. He intends to personally defend the Forgotten Lands. That same evening, Eleanor hurries home. She accidentally drops the entrance key. Someone is ready to help the woman. This cute creature was the first to find the key. Eleanor decides to feed the furry guest. He may become useful. It feels like he understands human speech. You can let him into the house for the night. Henry hadn't had time to properly wake up yet. Suddenly he notices a familiar cat. They had already managed to feed him dinner. The guy had something else in store. A great option would be to hit him with a chair. The mother never knew about her son's inclinations. The guy's mood changes quickly. Eleanor asks to find a clean bowl for the cat. The cat asks not to touch him so hard. He just wanted to eat something. Who knew that Henry lived in this house? Now the guy will have to take care of him. First, you need to come up with a name. He decides to name the cat Joyce. That's right, this name fits perfectly. The cat definitely won't tolerate such nicknames. He pounces on his new owner, and then decides to leave the room. Now it is clear where that alien matter came from. From the very beginning, the cat does not inspire confidence. However, it is worth getting to know him better. From that day on, Henry promises to feed him. Perhaps the creature has true intelligence. Eleanor is ready to give 1,000 for the entrance exam. It turned out that Henry had already made the payment. The price was halved especially for him. There is still some money left over from the last earnings. This will touch any mother. Her son grew up very quickly. Henry suggests moving to the City of Hope. In response, the woman asks to postpone the conversation. Now there is another problem. The cat asks to give him a little more. 2 days later, exams begin. Only a few will be able to enter a military college. After the exam, you will have to complete a mission. The system refuses to grant a deferment. Suddenly, he notices Director Paul. Henry promises to get the required number of points. Paul will then chair the inspection committee. It's also beneficial for the guy. It's hard to see how he'll get any points. However, Henry managed to prove himself. Its popularity is growing every day. The system tells you to continue the mission. You need to improve your reputation in the eyes of others. Stuart wishes you success in your exams. There is someone else who is interested in the guy. Jacqueline is determined to win his heart. These two are clearly working together. We need to understand what they want from Henry. Stuart has long been renowned for his prudence. He never solves problems himself. All the dirty work goes to stupid newbies. One of them decides to show strength. He is confident that he can handle Henry alone. This time, Stuart changes the plan. He wants to do everything with his own hands. The guy believes that his endurance is also at its best. This is an important factor in entrance exams. When others fall, Henry is just warming up. In previous years, students would last a couple of minutes. This guy isn't afraid of a long challenge. He acts confidently. Jacqueline looked away for a moment. She accidentally collides with a new star. Unfortunately, the girl breaks her heel. Jacqueline asks for help with this. Henry suggests breaking the second heel. Then she will be able to walk on her own. He must not waste his time. Entrance tests are in full swing. Joyce also goes with him. Such a cute cat attracts attention. Jacqueline didn't know that Henry loved animals. This is not the most well-behaved cat. After a hearty dinner, you can't be near them. It will spoil the air anywhere. The girl can hardly contain her anger. The teacher asks the next student to come through. Stuart places his hands into the apparatus. The guy's elements are copper and phosphorus. 2 elements are almost half developed at once. Joyce thinks Henry was better. Now it's his turn to show his abilities. He came to the exam with a cat. It doesn't matter, because the main thing is the result. He must determine what elements are inside. At first, it is difficult to understand what is hidden here. Maybe Joyce could help. Henry promises 5 fish at once for dinner. The teacher asks the student to think faster. Joyce will sleep in the trash if he doesn't help. As he puts his hands in, he feels something strange. It's as if the level is increasing on its own. A few seconds later, there is an explosion. The teacher doesn't understand what's going on. The iron level has already reached 50%. A little more and it will become absolute. True, the device broke down before that. Something soft falls on the shoulders. Jacqueline hopes the boy isn't hurt. The level reached 60% before the explosion. No student has ever demonstrated anything like this. This cute cat is to blame for everything. Joyce believes that the owner will keep his promise. Suddenly, the boy blames the teacher for everything. He believes that he wanted to spoil the results. Nonsense. He has nothing to do with it at all. Henry is too suspicious. You need to be simpler. The students didn't notice the catch either. In that case, the cat did everything right. Henry's hands plunge into the apparatus again. The second attempt ends in failure. The teacher promised that everything would go well. This already looks like a mockery. Kurt is forced to intervene in the incident. He wants to know what happened. The guy's hidden talent is too high. At this rate, he will blow up all the devices. The level has already exceeded 60%. Kurt offers to go with him. The cat can be left at the training base. It's in vain that he wants to pet him. This cat is given into the hands of only its owner. Henry doesn't have to worry about his pet. You need to focus on the exam. He hasn't been able to start for a long time. Now nothing will interfere with the student. With Joyce not around, the task becomes more difficult. However, he can help from a distance. I'd like to believe that the cat is still in business. In a few seconds, the result is obtained. Talent has reached 80%. No one has ever seen such results. Kurt asks to pull your hands out immediately. Otherwise, they will lose the third device. In fact, he couldn't have held out much longer. The device itself throws the guy away. Jacqueline is already flying towards him. She hugs Henry tightly to her chest. This is a worthy reward for success. But the main thing is that the mission is completed. Jacqueline's breasts are just a nice bonus. I wish Bridget hadn't seen this. She closely follows the progress of the exam. The girl demands to know the student's name. However, there is no need to think about this. Now the guy is waiting for an explanation. Kurt promised that the new device would hold up. The lieutenant is no longer a boy. He understands that the guy was preparing for this outcome. 3 explosions cannot be a coincidence. Doesn't Kurt understand this? At this moment, a call comes in. The exam results have arrived. The moment of truth arrives for Henry. The test results are stored on the main computer. So, everyone is ready to hear them. All the guy's talents exceed 80%. He is recognized as the best student. Kurt still doesn't trust him. He asks to follow him. You just need to sign a few documents. The school received a prize in honor of its best student. A letter from the Alliance arrives in his name. They want to see the guy in the ranks of the army. Bridget reports this personally. The major probably just fell in love with him. In any case, this is a real chance. He writes a reply letter of consent. The girl had no doubt about his decision. The guy surpassed Bridget in his level. The system rewards him with a new chest. He had never experienced such success. In the Forgotten Lands, everything was different. Cats gathered at the garbage dump. It seems the fat man has no intention of giving up his dominance. He wants to give a second fight. There are never any problems with this. These cats have doomed themselves. Joyce can throw them around until the morning. He hopes that there are smart animals left here. They will let him pass or die. Henry has already received compliments from the director. These successes make me feel a little uneasy. That army officer couldn't stop it. I need to return home early today. But a new name was added to the list of fans. Jacqueline, she's here again. This time he notices her in strange company. She doesn't give up trying to make the guy fall in love. Henry lived in such slums since childhood. He knows the locals very well. It's funny that they decided to set up an ambush. The Eye of Deprivation function allows you to see through things. Perhaps it's worth finding another way. However, the situation is changing dramatically. Someone else appears next to Jacqueline. The girl did not expect such a meeting. She bursts out of the dark alley screaming. Jacqueline begs for help. Instead, the crowd stumbles upon an old woman. The woman is sure that this is a robbery. Actually, they didn't plan anything like that, but Henry manages to notice this. He blames Jacqueline and her friends. Hiding their faces, they attack people. They advise not to meddle in other people's business. By the way, there is a familiar energy coming from my grandmother. He had encountered something similar in the past. The heroic hammer can solve problems. Henry won't let the bastards attack his aunt. The woman thanks the young man for his help. However, she also knows how to stand up for herself. Henry will be able to see this for himself. It was for this purpose that he grabbed the hammer. It will be better if the old woman calms down. The guy swings at the elderly woman. You certainly don't expect this from a hero. Only he knows the true appearance of his aunt. Margaret was hiding behind her mask. The girl uses a sonic attack. Her piercing voice drives me crazy. The guy demands that everyone else run away from here. He will take the full brunt of it, even if it means going to extremes. Margaret turned out to be quite nimble. With one leap, she distances herself from Henry. A second later, the captive was in her arms. Jacqueline will die if Henry makes a move. He demands that the student not be involved in this. However, Jacqueline is no slouch either. She asks Henry to run away. Punishment will follow in response to a blow. It's unlikely that Jacqueline will survive the night. Things have gone too far. Damn people are getting underfoot. The students beg for mercy. Future warriors evoke only pity. There is only one who is worthy of attention. But a simple hammer won't help against magic. The guy will only kill the students with his instrument. He has nothing to do with it. 2 guys came to their senses in time. You can't stay around a dangerous woman. Henry decides to escape by a secret route. Only he knows all the nooks and crannies. You need to be more careful. Otherwise the knife blade will hit your head. Margaret decides to pursue to the end. There are many ways to get to the fugitive. Cheap tricks won't help you escape. Henry can't run away forever. We need to come up with another way. There is a service building next to the landfill. He bursts inside through the window. There is plenty of room to hide here. Unfortunately, many places are already taken. The stray cats weren't expecting a night guest. It's strange, but their leader was Joyce. He will have to explain everything to the owner. However, there is a more serious problem now. The girl is already here and wants to see Henry. The cat demands that the scum get out of here. The first day of his reign did not go according to plan. He commands the others to attack the invader. Need to let off some steam and some claws. There are many people willing to do this here. Margaret entered through the wrong window. She will deeply regret this. To be honest, cats are really strong, although many casualties cannot be avoided. Margaret was also famous for her skills. For the first few minutes she was a little confused, but now I'm ready to show my best. Joyce will not allow her subordinates to be killed. He rushes into attack. Two of the strongest warriors clashed in the center. There will be only one left in this barracks. It's unlikely that the girl plans to die. She'd rather leave behind a pile of dead cats. Joyce should take care of himself too. Henry decides to intervene. His pet is in danger. This woman is threatening to kill everyone. There is quite a big difference between them. However, no one says that this is bad. The guy is ready to accept the challenge. Margaret is different from all the energy warriors. However, the cat is also quite strong. Joyce will not stand aside. He wants to give his master his power. There is everything for this. Henry feels his pet's appearance change. Gradually, he releases his power. It is clear which element is subject to him. Joyce has the ability to recreate iron. It seems that there are energy warriors among animals. The cat doesn't emit any magnetism at all. However, this does not interfere at all. Dozens of sharp spears are pointed at Margaret. She should hurry. It's hard to withstand such pressure. Henry is glad that he took the pet for himself. It will still be useful in other missions. The girl's life hangs by a thread. Spears are flying from all sides. One of them hits the most vulnerable spot. At this rate, she will definitely miss the fatal shot. It's scary to even look at this. Although Margaret deserved death for her atrocities, many innocent lives fell at her hands. If she escapes, they will meet again. This cannot be allowed to happen. We need to finish the job. Henry intends to finish off the scoundrel. It's all over. She can't escape. They have a better chance when paired with a pet. Iron spears are imbued with destructive energy. They are all aiming at one goal. The girl's physical strength is truly impressive. She is confident that she can survive. Iron is powerless against such a warrior, but there was something Margaret didn't take into account. She notices another element along with the iron. That's right, it was phosphorus. The boy can control two elements at once. The nasty cat definitely helped him with this. Such bastards should be killed in the cradle, although now it's better to think about your life. The arrow hits the body exactly. These arrows pose a real threat. Even with such power, the danger is too high. The girl is seriously injured. There is almost no strength left for recovery. The guy has access to a rare alloy. He definitely has more than 5 talents. You should have thought about this earlier. Now is the time to prepare for death. The released spears pierce Margaret through and through. It's impossible to survive a shot like that. It was the last thing she could do. One big problem has been solved successfully. Henry was also seriously injured in the battle. His pet can be carried in his arms. Only Joyce could turn the tide of the fight. It is still unclear where it came from. By the way, you can get rid of it too. No, you can't do that to your savior. Moreover, these cats won't allow it. His subjects can rest assured. The guy was Joyce's owner. He promises to buy them some fresh fish. But it will happen tomorrow. And today there is another meeting. Bridget remembers how the guy behaved with Jacqueline. However, Margaret's death is more important now. She was a dark elf of the highest rank. The girl orders the body to be delivered to the Institute. The students thank the hero. They were already crazy about Henry. Now there is no way to fight them off. There could be many killers like Margaret, but there is enough strength to eliminate everyone. The system could have rewarded him too. She's too greedy for that. Joyce has been sleeping for the 3rd day in a row. For killing an elf, the guy gets 5,000. Exams are starting soon. Students are ready to show their skills, and the female students want to attract Henry to themselves. He was already used to this attitude. The exam invigilators seem too strict. Henry has a great chance to become the best. You need to get used to constant surveillance. 450 students took the exam at once. You have 2 hours to complete the test. Anyone who dares to cheat will be removed. They have chosen the path of a soldier and must live up to it. The teacher announces the start of the exam. Henry opens the question papers. The difficulty of the tasks won't stop him. He took all the risks into account and grabbed an axe. This is in case of a surprise attack. One of the students has already been caught red-handed. The teacher demands that he leave the classroom. The test is over. You can say goodbye to the university. Henry doesn't want to follow him. He must do the work himself. He manages to complete everything in 2 hours. 1/5 of the candidates were eliminated from the group. Luckily, he was not on the list of losers. All the tasks turned out to be within his power. Suddenly, the sheet of paper catches fire. This could ruin his plans. At some point, Everyone notices the presence of magic. The catch came at the wrong time. Someone set the guy up just before the exam. Instead of forms, there is only burnt paper on the table. His test paper is ruined. Henry demands to issue other forms. However, there are only 40 minutes left until the end of the exam. He won't have time to complete the new task. Only completing the mission can help. Henry decides to go all in. In this case, there is no point in refusing. Blank forms appear on the table. Better hurry, the time will not be extended. This goes without saying. Someone brought phosphorus powder into the classroom. The teacher demands that everyone be silent. There is catastrophically little time left. You need to resort to a little trick. Even the military doesn't have the means to expose Henry. He intends to summarize the answers of all students. He already answered all the questions once, which means he can do it again. This is the first time the teacher has seen such fast writing. It's clear to everyone that someone set the guy up. It needs to be assessed in a special way. He fills out the form as if he were fighting for his life. The handle is more like a weapon in the hand. It is not for nothing that they call him a true genius. This is the first time the teacher has seen something like this in 20 years. He can be assessed like other students. As a child, Bridget's father called her the most talented. But today she saw true talent. We cannot close our eyes to the truth. This guy becomes an example for everyone. He finishes the test before the time is up. Now it's clear who set Henry up. Stuart's plan can be thrown in the trash. After the exam, the participants are taken to the training ground. The practical exam will last 1.5 days. The test takes place in an underground fortress. The exam location changes every year. Lieutenant Nick is waiting for them on the ground floor. This year he is in charge of testing. The results of the theory tests have arrived. Someone managed to get the maximum score. The first line is Henry's name. It is he who becomes the best. But the guy's form burned during the test. Nothing can stop a true genius. The lieutenant reminds that practice is always more important. He could have praised the guy. Nick must quickly tell the rules. For some reason, Henry imagines the test differently. The practical exam was a little different. It consists of competition with officers. They differ from students in their strength. Students will be taken to a combat testing site. Nick knows he is the boss on the battlefield. Survival is what matters most. This rule also applies to the exam. You'll have to pretend to be animals. The student's appearance will be disguised. The challenge is to get to know other students. Death occurs after 2 hits. Those who stand still will be destroyed by the storm. It is most profitable to create a small team. Virtual masks can violate trust. However, the guy is forbidden to join the group. Having announced the rules, Nick invites you to the location. Everything will be fine if you follow the rules. Once inside, the sensations change. Henry doesn't yet know what he's become. He hopes the animal will be large. After looking around a bit, he sets off on reconnaissance. It's worth taking a look at your appearance. It's hard to understand anything in the reflection. The wings behind the back say a lot. Oh no, he turned into a damn duck. Why did he get the appearance of a duck? Perhaps this somehow affects combat effectiveness. Some people were much luckier. It's a pity he didn't get the same look. Every student tries to pretend to be someone else. For some reason, everyone introduces themselves with the same name. For example, these two claim that their name is both Henry. Apparently this name is popular today. This is the essence of the practice test. You need to make sure you are not recognized. They don't take the little duck seriously. We must try to identify students. You can't get enough of this wild duck. The giants decide to go in search of prey. They were a little hasty in their conclusions. The duck is much more dangerous than it seemed. The zebra was eliminated with 1 blow. It's foolish to judge by size alone. As punishment, Henry gets rid of the ignoramus. Killing local game is too easy. Unless, of course, we're talking about a Tyrannosaurus. Even observers are fleeing from their positions. They may create additional obstacles. Suddenly he notices other birds. There are other birds besides him. The board does not take their eyes off the screen. 2 students foolishly revealed their identities. Director Paul had no doubt about Henry. Robert suggests waiting for the final battle. Sebastian notices something unusual. This guy trains other ducks. It looks like he formed a team out of them. Quantity sometimes wins over quality. The remaining students form groups. We need to find other teams before sunset. It is unlikely that they will be able to survive until sunset. This duck definitely doesn't intend to lose. Robert claims the guy broke the rules. He is prohibited from joining the group. However, he chose fake participants, which means he's doing everything right. A little more, and he will overcome the 3rd limit. Suddenly, Henry hears Nick's voice. An imminent storm is announced. They make the test as difficult as possible. Strangely enough, the duck remains in place. Henry will soon regret not listening to the command. At midnight, the weather changes dramatically. A group of ducks slowly wanders through the forest. This is the best time to show strength. All participants got up early in the morning. By this time, they should be very tired. While everyone is resting, Henry gets down to business. He always loved working at night. The ostrich becomes the first target of the attack. Ostrich feathers fly in all directions. Henry's progress increases with each kill. After the birds, he takes on large animals. Wild boars are no exception to this list. This night, everyone will fall into eternal sleep. But Henry has a lot of work to do. Sebastian didn't expect such a smart approach. Director Paul had no doubts about Henry. He receives a chest with an item as a reward. 4 pills are enough to overcome the limit. What else does a duck need to be happy? An encounter with a T-Rex can put a damper on the fun. There are other night hunters roaming the forest. He decides to take the pills he was given. The effect does not take long to appear. The level bar is rapidly creeping up. The guy feels particles dissolving in his blood. The new element brought new sensations. The power seems to burst out of the feathered body. You can even meet a buffalo in this form. All of Henry's stats are near their maximum. He intends to solve the main problem. His new relatives are also in business. The Tyrannosaurus doesn't suspect anything yet. That giant was Malcolm. He was very lucky. But tonight, everything will change. He sees mad ducks in front of him. Small creatures attack in large groups. He could swallow them in a second. At some point, it starts to get annoying. Tyrannosaurus is forced to retreat. Today, the ducks are taking over. Malcolm himself found himself in a vulnerable position. It would be foolish not to take advantage of such an opportunity. Henry punches the open area with all his might. It turns out that dinosaurs cry too. It's hard not to cry from such wild pain. I wonder what else a duck can do. The Tyrannosaurus begs for mercy. This is just a test, not a real fight. Malcolm's fate has already been decided. The duck makes the last injection into the tail. The dinosaur falls to the ground with all its weight. He will never forget this defeat. That same evening, Malcolm found himself at the base. He insists it was a covert attack. The devil duck is cunning and quite strong. The student takes everything too seriously. He is not the only one who was attacked. The duck killed everyone who got in its way. At least 10 animals became her victims. The guy asks not to laugh at him, but he really couldn't control the bird. It's okay. Everyone here understands him, except perhaps one person. The lieutenant doesn't understand how he could have made such a mistake. He already knows that Henry has defeated everyone. They forgot that they were soldiers. Nick decides to fight the duck himself. No one will object, but it sounds stupid. In any case, the boys will get good grades. The lieutenant is determined. He will not allow the honor of the platoon to be dishonored. Meanwhile, Henry is resting after the hunt. He was only a couple of kills short. These little ones did a great job too. But from now on, he will hunt on his own. The final stage of the test is the island. Because of the thunderstorm, all the students moved there. However, something went wrong. The students conspired against one student. Gradually, they should surround the duck. No one dares to attack him alone. Even a huge buffalo is afraid to attack. But we are talking about a simple bird. One of them decides to launch a surprise attack. The attack was not so sudden. Henry's explosive power is more powerful than any of them. The duck doesn't care about the size of its opponents. To her, it's just a bunch of smelly babies. Getting rid of them is much easier than it seems. Soon, many left the training location. In a matter of seconds, the strongest was killed. They decide to save their skins by running away. Only by killing the duck will they have a chance to win. Until then, we will have to lose our relatives. Even observers get caught in the crossfire. Nobody said they couldn't be killed. The duck does not spare even the weak. Her younger relatives also become victims. The monkey suggests swimming across the pond. Crossing the lake will not be difficult. Sometimes reality can be cruel. By the way, this applies to everyone. Someone dared to attack her. This is where the main underwater killer appears. Henry realizes that Lieutenant Nick has recognized him. In that case, it's worth accepting the challenge. The giant knows who he is dealing with. He intends to strangle the damn bird. Henry forgot about respect for his elders. Nick can recall the difference in strength. However, the guy decides to go all the way. He uses an illegal, painful hold. Sometimes it's good to break the rules. The giant octopus is forced to loosen its grip. He throws Henry into the pond. It's foolish to think that this is the end of the game. The real test for Nick is just beginning. It is clear that size does not matter. All the forest inhabitants learned their lesson well. Even an octopus can fall to a duck's wing. If there is a genius in the form of a bird, by killing the second lieutenant, Henry will be able to win. There is no use in hiding your identity now. Everyone already knows who is hiding behind the feathers. Looks like he's in trouble. All the animals on the island rush to attack. The first wave of attack was unsuccessful. It's time for the heavy units. There was one monkey among the crowd of giants. It will also be useful for the purpose of murder. Suddenly, the duck declares that she is a lieutenant. At this moment, an octopus appears in the lake. The giant insists that he is Henry. It's hard to tell if they're telling the truth. It's hard to deal with a stupid herd. The animals are already ready to carry out Lieutenant Nick's order. Anyone who stands in the duck's path will die on the spot. There is already one stupid victim. If anyone wishes to continue, the duck is ready. You can attack as a group if you are not afraid. The octopus wants to tear her to pieces. Others want the same thing. They forgot to ask Henry's opinion. The guy decides to change the location slightly. It must be admitted that the guy is really strong. Even when surrounded, he does not lose his fighting spirit. Animals are dying one after another. Soon it will be the turn of the big-horned ones. However, the blow comes from behind. Instead of continuing, he tries to escape. Well, that's one big problem less. Now we need to break out of the siege as quickly as possible. 2 more victims are added to the list. The director already said that this guy is a champion. We need to take a closer look at it. In the depths of the forest, the image of a tiger appears. Stewart is confident that they have shown themselves to be weak. He quickly deals with the entire group. This student is being too cruel. Director Paul hadn't noticed this before. The next day, attacks on the octopus resume. It's like they've gone crazy. Is it possible to attack your teacher? Stewart wants to get the highest score by killing. The rest want the same. Then they will have to risk everything. There is another contender for victory in this place. It's hard to deal with dozens of enemies. No one will attack the strongest alone. Another group came to the aid of the octopus. The women's middle group scatters to the sides. Suddenly the duck is noticed. She won't be able to leave the battlefield. The squirrel won't spare her. There's no hope. There were many giants standing in this little girl's way. They are all dead. Only the stinking bird remains. You can even sympathize with this squirrel. She doesn't understand who she's dealing with. The system offers 1 ticket to play the lottery. A win could give Henry a great chance. He gains the skill of constant transformation. A life form transformation can change everything. The Wheel of Fortune really turned out to be useful. You just need to choose one of the slots. It takes a little time to learn. There is a whole system tree of transformation here. There are more than 60 elements in the human body. The skill is able to transform elements into power. The body structure will become much stronger. The overall level of health will increase dramatically. He who doesn't take risks doesn't drink champagne. In the future, he will become incredibly powerful. The robot does not recommend using the transformation for a long time. Besides, it will cost 2,000 coins. With his budget, the abilities will last for 10 minutes. The element copper is more expensive than iron. This is robbery. 2,000 coins for 10 minutes of use. At this rate, he will definitely lose. You'll have to get rich first. Meanwhile, the group remains on the shore. Squirrel did everything in her power. This didn't help get rid of the duck. She continues her atrocities. The octopus does not notice the approaching threat. At the last moment, he manages to parry the blow. Her abilities don't end there. The transformation skill strengthens every hit. It looks like an octopus is fighting a giant. In fact, the enemy was a feathered one. A fight breaks out between them again. Lieutenant Nick will fight to the end. The Alliance's second lieutenant is truly powerful, but he knows the strength of the enemy. Henry has already passed the second limit. This duck only looked harmless. However, her attacks can kill anyone. The monkey still thinks that the octopus was Henry. A stupid monkey doesn't understand anything. It is the duck that hides his appearance. Incredibly, the octopus is giving in. He loses in a fair fight against a bird. There is a real monster studying at Principal Paul's school. We're not talking about a giant octopus at all. We're talking about his little feathered rival. The ability will last for another 3 minutes. During this time, you need to show your maximum. Bridget is just now turning on the live broadcast. She can't believe her eyes. Henry managed to break through the 3rd limit. Looks like the guy wants to overcome the 4th. It was no accident that he dealt with Margaret so easily. Bridget orders Nick not to hold back. It turns off all the limiters. He is allowed to use any element. The order has been received. It's time for a real fight. At this point, the students lose their disguises. As expected, the duck turned out to be Henry. This will come as a surprise to others. But the main surprise is already waiting for Nick. The lieutenant manages to block the blow. He is senior in rank, but the fight has gone too far. Now the lieutenant has no intention of playing games. He breaks the energy capsule. I'll have to give one student a good beating. Stewart keeps his eyes on the horizon. This is Henry's true strength. He engages in combat with the energy warrior. It's a pity that the ability's effect has ended. You can only rely on your own strength. The guy immediately misses the blow. The lieutenant's strength exceeds his own. There is 70% recovery in reserve. They must be used before contact with Nick. Now they are fighting in his element. In a pond, it can fully reveal its potential. You can't fight with simple methods. The lieutenant notices a sudden change. The opponent's speed becomes much higher. Henry has 1 minute left. He succeeds in transforming copper. Lightning damage reduced by 50%. The boy wants to leave the battlefield. Nick won't let him leave. They haven't finished the fight yet. This means that Henry is obliged to fight to the end. Suddenly, the guy disappears from sight. Only one remains at the battlefield. The lieutenant tries to make out at least something. He doesn't notice how the guy is approaching from behind. Henry suggests comparing lightning resistance. A great opportunity has presented itself right now. In that case, Henry will be the first to die. This remains to be tested in practice. Lightning strikes the point where the opponents are located. Both demonstrate excellent endurance. There is nothing pleasant about contact with lightning, especially if she hits twice. One of them has to give up first. The guy definitely won't be able to withstand a third blow. The same applies to the lieutenant. He manages to free himself. Immediately after this, you need to strike. Nick easily drops his opponent into the water. The boy will answer for this humiliation. However, Henry has no right to lose. He makes one last attempt to turn the fight around. To do this, you need to break Nick's skull. Henry hits the lieutenant with his head as hard as he can. The lieutenant loses consciousness for a second. The competition resembles a fight to the death. None of them wants to be a loser. But the guy hasn't yet become an energy warrior. What will happen when he goes through the transformation? Deborah is seriously concerned for their lives. After being struck by lightning twice, Henry is still alive. At first, Bridget wanted to interrupt the competition. But now I want to see the end of the meeting. The guy has every chance to gain the upper hand. Incredibly, the student does not come ashore alone. He drags Lieutenant Nick along with him. He urgently needs medical attention. Today he defeated the greatest fighter of the Union. However, the fight can be repeated. The guy isn't even afraid of the lieutenant's revenge. Soon Nick's image disappears into thin air. He ended this fight in defeat. Stewart is determined to avenge Nick. His fist was easily caught in mid-flight. A simple punch sends the fat man flying. But Henry was just warming up. He warms up as if he hadn't started the fight. The whip will become another weapon. Stewart acknowledges the strength of the newcomer. However, it is not at all about who is stronger. The point is who set Henry up during the exam, and who incited his son to this act. He suspects Robert of a criminal conspiracy with his son. Stewart demands that not a word be said about his father. It would be better if he kept quiet. The guy twists his leg with a long whip. One fat man needs a good spanking. Henry can arrange it. After a few seconds, Stewart leaves the location. This is especially for dedicated fans. The public is delighted with their idol. Henry acts like an evil genius. However, it fulfills all the assigned tasks. Mr. Robert claims that the boy is lying. He would not cross his conscience. Bridget arrives on the scene and has a couple of questions. She has a recording from a surveillance camera in her hands. Robert is caught in the act and cannot escape trial. Robert doesn't understand why she only showed up now. Evidence is needed to make an accusation. Now we have all the information we need. Bridget warns him of the consequences if he seeks revenge. At least he did everything for his sons. He will tell his cellmates about this. Today, Deborah lost her patron. Old man Sebastian is not fit for this role. She loves not only the rich, but also the beautiful. What are these idiots talking about? By the way, you can catch a cold in the virtual world. Henry has 2 missions left to complete. He intends to break through to the 4th limit. Then his body will become invulnerable. But in the real world, a meeting awaits him. Lieutenant Nick suggests speaking privately. The guy would like to focus on training. Training can wait. First, it's worth discussing the fight. Henry insists he was just lucky. Nobody takes such answers seriously. Nick warns of danger at the capital's school. It is better to obey and follow him. A scientist arrived from the capital especially for Henry. They want to examine his body carefully. Soon they arrive at the Institute of Experimental Research. The guy immediately meets an acquaintance. Bridget wants to introduce him to a famous doctor. Louise has been conducting research in the field of anatomy for a long time. The guy made a breakthrough too quickly. We need to find out what his secret is. He realizes that Bridget is using him like a pet. He never wanted to be a test subject. Henry demands that this circus be stopped immediately. But Louise didn't meet him to talk. Bridget executed part of the plan perfectly. A chainsaw in the hands of a doctor does not inspire confidence. First, you need to take off the guy's pants. Louise will just take a little blood for tests. Done. Now the girl wants to look at it. She notices that the guy's blood is very active. The blood contains an unknown type of energy. There is no need to worry. The guy is definitely not an alien. Bridget decides to contact Lieutenant Nick. He must arrange a meeting with the Alliance Department. This news was a little unexpected. That same evening, the guy was free. He is in a hurry to get home. As usual, his mother meets him with dinner. Eleanor thinks he failed the practical test. In fact, he took first place. Now he is strong not only in theory. They will soon move to the capital and rent a house. In response, Eleanor asks not to be offended. Mom is very happy, but she needs to rest a little. On the way home, she bought a bottle of wine. Eleanor is truly happy for her son. But from her appearance, it is not noticeable at all. Henry realizes that his mother is not telling him something. At this moment, a new mission appears. He can get another chest. The skill of keen observation will be the main prize. As part of the mission, he must become an energy warrior. This mission is impossible now. The guy has no information. But there is one idea. He recalls meeting a doctor from the capital. Recently, the best student was given a cash prize. Henry was recognized as such a student this year. It was on that day that he received a business card from the lieutenant. Nick promised that Henry could earn more. "You just need to serve Major Bridget." I wonder what she meant by service. She pays $50,000 for just one visit. He decides to call her. Henry is sure that the girl will want something special. For some time, no one answers the phone. Perhaps the lieutenant was playing a joke on him. However, soon he hears a voice. Bridget is actually willing to pay for the services. The guy wants full service as payment. She is ready to do this for $50,000. The service car will pick him up in 30 minutes. Perhaps this was his chance. A $50,000 deal makes you nervous, but it's too late to think. The car is already here. Lieutenant Nick takes the guy to the hotel. Bridget is already waiting for him inside. She hoped that the guy would arrive earlier. Everything has long been ready for service. A comfortable suit has been specially selected for this purpose. Nothing should interfere with training with Henry. Lieutenant Nick wants to be in the student's shoes. There remains one small detail. We need to strike one last time. Now we can calmly talk about business. Nick holds exactly $50,000 in his hands. First, the guy wants to talk about money. He expects her help in leveling up. You don't have to worry, she'll do a great job. While the girl is in the shower, he will read the terms of the contract. The main condition was selling oneself. There are still many terrible conditions in the contract. Henry's body is valued at $2 million. He will not sign these documents. In that case, Henry must return the money. He has already received services. A full range of services has been provided. Henry is already in debt. With a simple trick, the girl plunges him into debt. He was in the room with a young girl who had just come out of the shower. His slowness is only his problem. Now the guy is obliged to pay the contract amount. However, he has a chance to experience real art. An energy warrior creates a special source in his body. The price for 4 sources is $2 million. The higher the talent, the more energy is required. Henry hoped that his beauty was worth more than money. In the real world, money is more important than looks. Great words, but the guy thinks differently. Enough nonsense. Henry will never sell his dignity. It's too dangerous to do business with her. She is too confident in herself. This devil knows what people are like. It's even strange that she turned out to be smarter than Henry. At that moment, he realizes what Bridget is up to. It's worth watching when he becomes an energy warrior. After all, he made her a failure twice. The guy is seriously confident of his victory. But he hasn't entered the military academy yet. Bridget decides to move from threats to a duel. I want to accept this challenge. This girl broke the limit 4 times. Henry also has a lot of spiritual strength. He considers himself a future hero. Heroism can only be tested in practice. Even at the factory, Bridget sensed his abilities. He has extrasensory perception. Suddenly she decides to postpone the fight for 3 years. And now the guy should prepare for a breakthrough. If he wins, she will provide full intimate services. You could say he already has motivation. Everyone wants intimate service. This requires a lot of hard work. Such gifts are not given for free. Bridget is considered one of the strongest warriors. The force of her blow is truly astonishing. She immediately breaks through the 2nd level. The guys can stand aside. After talking to Henry, she seemed to change. Bridget will pay for the energy materials herself. Henry is confident that this is a fair price for the services rendered. He shouldn't have said it out loud. The lieutenant wants to remind him of one thing. Bridget was more than just a major. She has powerful patrons behind her. The commander-in-chief has the same surname. It's better to pretend that no one heard anything. The next day, there was a meeting with the doctor. Louise happily welcomes the subject. Everyone was happy except Henry. He should like the new experiment. After changing clothes, the guy is placed in a cell. The interior of the chamber is completely isolated. The breakthrough process can take more than a month. Wait, did she say a month? He asks to be allowed to leave a will. Many people experience anxiety inside the cell. You don't have to worry about anything. The lieutenant had better not stand nearby. Henry's object is stable and not in any danger. The assistant believes that the speed is exceeding the norm. He's progressing too fast. A record was reached for the amount of material poured. Henry receives a 12-fold infusion. Louise is sure that even more is needed. No one should doubt her experience. In this case, the power should be increased. A little more time passed. Nick reports on the progress of the experiment. Henry absorbs energy too quickly. She wouldn't mind contributing a couple more million. These two are definitely having an affair. Bridget asks to arrange a trip to the guy's house. She intends to meet his mother. Henry is a true master at winning women over. He was even able to make Bridget fall in love with him. Eleanor meets them at the threshold of the house. Bridget is the first to start the acquaintance. She introduces herself as her son's friend. Very soon, everyone finds themselves at the same table. The girl promises that she will take care of Henry. She will arrange admission to a military school. In addition, housing is waiting for the guy in the capital. His mother can go with him. The woman finds out that she is talking to a young major. It's nice when your son has such friends. Nick understands where this acquaintance is leading. On the way, Bridget makes an important call. She asks her grandfather to give her a pass to the base. There will be one student there with her. Of course, she will get 2 passes. Henry will be the first civilian to enter the base. That guy will be the key to the Forgotten Lands. You don't have to worry about anything, she'll take care of it. It's amazing how easily everything works for her. The question is whether Mom will agree with this. Bridget will not go against Eleanor's wishes. She will cancel everything if she is against it. Nick guesses everything. He sees his future bride in front of him. It's better not to voice such guesses out loud. The next blow will be much more painful. Although this one also turned out to be quite painful. About a month passes. Bridget receives orders to leave the Forgotten Lands. The lieutenant is instructed to wait for Henry to wake up. The guy has been sleeping for several months. Entrance exams begin in a month and a half. It's scary to imagine how much the infusion will cost. Nick asks to speed up the process. At this moment, something unusual happens. The readings have peaked, but it's still absorbing energy. Louise had never met such an insatiable guy before. This could be too dangerous. Henry may die from an overdose. The lieutenant commands that this be stopped immediately. However, this requires doubling the load. She pulls the lever herself. The indicator breaks through the maximum value. A little more and the capsule will fly into the air. The system suddenly crashes. The energy infusion process stops. He stopped absorbing energy. Henry feels like he's been born again. Several months later, he woke up again. The cabin starts to make a lot of noise due to the tension. A second later, an explosion occurs. The guy insists that he is not guilty of anything. He didn't want to consume so much energy. He will tell Nick about this a little later. Louise also has a few questions. The doctors were close to becoming victims. The War Department is obliged to pay compensation. It will only take 20 million. Nick gives his word that he will do everything possible. It's nice to work with smart people. Louise wants the report filed today. She never misses an opportunity to make money. Nick congratulates the guy on his admission. Bridget filled out the admission forms herself. Now he is a student at an elite academy. No one from the Forgotten Lands has such privileges. That's not all, his mother can go with him. From this day on, everything changes. Henry decides to test his new abilities. It uses reverse essence. As usual, the element is extracted from the ore energy. We need to find out the strength of its magnetic core. This is the first time he has controlled such energy. Managing the core is much easier than it seemed. He wants to learn how to cover his body with armor. Not so fast, he hasn't received his first order yet. Upon entering the first order, he will be able to cover his body with energy. But before joining, you can't even think about it. Henry promises to do everything according to the rules. The guy just asks to lend him some copper. Such materials are currently in short supply. However, Nick must think about the future. What if this guy becomes his boss? He promises to share his supplies with him. This is a small gift to mark your admission. It's clear that Nick was a good man. Moreover, very calculating. Suddenly, Mom refuses to leave the Forgotten Lands. They had dreamed of moving to the City of Hope all their lives. Eleanor asks Nick to talk alone. She refuses 24-hour protection. Henry must promise her 3 conditions. First of all, she doesn't need to rent a house. Secondly, he will only visit her during the holidays. If he doesn't agree, Eleanor will stay here. There is one more condition. However, 2 conditions will be quite sufficient. The woman asks to wait for her a little. The stupid cat is still here. A guy can take a cat to the City of Hope. Joyce promises to find him in the city himself. They will see each other again in a few days. We can hit the road. Eleanor has already packed her things. She takes only a change of clothes with her. By the way, where did the cat disappear to? Joyce jumped out of the window a minute ago. It seems he loves the Forgotten Lands too. It's hard to leave your home. A new life awaits them. The flight will last at least 2 hours. During this time, you can figure out the interface. The system offers to upgrade your skills. Skill evolution is available to Henry for the first time. True, he gets a fine. The guy is late in returning the cleared eye. What's important now is to increase the chances of his survival. You can't save money on the essentials. It's strange, but there is no description for the new task. There will be many attributes at the intermediate level. He will soon find out everything himself. 300 children's songs becomes the next skill. It turns out to be some kind of reverse evolution, doesn't it? Does he really have to learn children's songs? The skill bonuses were simply enormous. You just need to master it perfectly. The lieutenant asks to sit up straight. The plane gradually gains altitude. From above, everything around seems small. He had never flown on an airplane before. The guy leaves the Forgotten Lands for a long time. There is someone else on the same flight. The students had already heard about Henry's accomplishments. It would be great if the lieutenant introduced them. The guy offers to listen to his singing. He actually sings a children's song. I want to cover my ears and disappear into the ground. Only Mom likes her son singing. Everyone asks the guy to stop. The flight still has 3 hours to go. During this time, he will sing the entire repertoire. It's strange that they didn't like the song. After 2 hours, he finishes the last song. A good moment to shut him up. These people around are very friendly. I need to sing a few more songs for them. They are approaching the city soon. This is his first visit to the City of Hope. The City of Hope is divided into 4 regions. The hierarchy in the city is almost no different from anywhere else. The eastern capital is a military center. It is here that 4 military academies are located. Local intelligence is famous for its work. 5 minutes later, the plane lands. He will have to get used to the big city. The City of Hope at night was breathtaking. Everything here was incredibly high. This is what Henry dreamed about all his life. He decides to quickly conquer the new city. Thanks to talent, this is entirely possible. Stray cats have also moved into the city. This girl's face seems all too familiar. She invites local cats on an expedition. This is the first time the workers have seen so many cats. Mom taught Jane not to hurt people. But today we can make an exception. She releases a charge of energy. This is the last thing the unfortunate worker saw. Meanwhile, one person decides to hurry. She goes to school in the middle of the night. Lily wants to see the face of her enemy. Mr. Jacob tries to dissuade his granddaughter. A car appears next to her. The car is rushing towards her. It is with great difficulty that we manage to stop the car. Lily's staff saves her life. Henry demands to get out of the way immediately. He had never seen this person. For the last time, her grandfather tells her to stop. This time the boy was very lucky. This is a military academy. You need to get used to this kind of thing. Soon the guys find the logistics department. In the department, Henry meets this girl again. Lily doesn't want to give him a second chance. However, now is not the time for a duel. They will meet again at the military training ground. Now we need to sort out the documents. Henry was admitted to school by special invitation. There are no more than 2 such students per year. Special admission is given to the most talented. Lily considers only herself to be the most talented. By her behavior, she violates the soldiers' regulations. Lily is clearly looking for a conflict with him. The worst part is, now they have to live together. She was also admitted by special invitation. You should have said so in advance. Lily demands that he stop spying. Sooner or later, we'll have to finish him off. 10 minutes later, they became friends. Henry found it easy to get along with others. It turns out they have a lot in common. By the way, the hostel is located here. It looks more luxurious than an expensive hotel. On the contrary, Lily really doesn't like it. And yet, meeting the guy lifted my spirits. Lily invites him to her new team. They will have time to discuss this later. The girl will live on the 2nd floor. Henry is in no hurry to go to bed. In addition to military departments, logistics are taught here. There is also a faculty for weapons manufacturing. Bridget's weapons are made here. Such weapons require strong energy. The palm of his right hand has strong magnetism. Regular students are less fortunate with housing. They have to live in multi-story buildings. All conditions have been created for talented students. They slept well after the flight. The first day at the academy will be eventful. Thanks to Henry's songs, she slept well. After the night practice, both hands became magnetized. These guys hate Henry. They will never forget his songs on the plane. A new mission begins right now. The system appeared a little at the wrong time. Henry's main mission is survival. Edward is a graduate of the Faculty of Logistics. He talks about local rules of conduct. The most boring speech in the world. I'll have to listen to her until the end. Meanwhile, the mission's time is running out. Having no choice, Henry decides to sing. About 1,000 newcomers showed excellent results. There were even a few geniuses. Edward is ready to say the main words. At this moment, a song is heard in the crowd. Nobody booked an artist for the corporate event. The student demands to be silent immediately. This is the most difficult order for Henry. Many people will recognize the stupid song. The scoundrel sang it the entire flight on the plane. The dean doesn't understand what the boy is doing here. Edward wants to know the name of the singer. His name is Henry. He arrived by special enlistment. A similar quota was established 2 months ago. The damn girl brought a friend to the academy. The guy has a rather complex character. Ben can personally smash his head in. Edward suggests that the dean deal with him. Guilford is forced to be distracted by nonsense. For the last time, the guy warns the impudent fellow. The crowd is ready to tear him to pieces. The students ask for permission to kill him. To do this, you will have to catch up with Henry. He instantly finds himself in the air. One by one, the rest begin to fall. Those who want to fight can come forward. It is clear that he is very strong. It's strange that Lily takes their side. The guys attack in a crowd, forgetting about honor. They look like a dancing trio. It's unlikely they'll want to attack again. This guy can take his opponent's pants off. One of them is already standing without pants. This is how the first day at the academy goes. The student challenges Henry to a fair fight. He doesn't even have time to pull up his pants. His hopes are shattered like eggshells. The transformation can be considered complete. Henry doesn't tolerate being mobbed. Guilford sees his student's talent for the first time. We need to provoke the guy into releasing all his strength. In Edward's eyes, the students were pathetic scum. They can't handle one student. The girl promises to help him, but Henry doesn't expect help from the outside. He breaks the capsule and activates the power. Gradually, his body is transformed. The guy controls iron and phosphorus. 2 elements are quite enough. He eliminates his opponents with music. Seriously, the guy didn't even finish singing. One of them decides to attack alone. There are no weak fighters left here. He threatens to deal with the upstart. Usually threats end the same way. It's time for the top 3. Edward gives the command to finish off the scoundrel. It's going to be hot here now. Leaders cannot lose to yesterday's schoolboy. Roger warns that the guy is dangerous. Larry likes to play with fire. He wants to compare their combat levels. The guy's element is white steel. The steel frame firmly protects Larry's body. The 2 strongest meet in the center of the court. At first, it is difficult to understand who is stronger. They seem to be fighting on equal terms. Rather, it was a plus for Henry. Unlike Larry, he was a newbie. Henry crashes into him at full speed. The shockwave throws the guy aside. He actually broke 4 limits. The dean again recalls his granddaughter's words. The student arrived here from the Forgotten Lands. It turns out that talents are born there too. Ben announces a reward for the victory. 200 points will go to the winner of the tournament. You just need to defeat the newbie. Lily can't refuse a generous prize. What the hell, they live together. And yet, Lily rushes into the attack. She was recruited last night. Otherwise, it is impossible to explain the change in mood. The dagger almost touches his face. There are others here with Lily. This guy still hasn't calmed down. His team attacks from different sides. Henry won't make it in time. At the last moment, he puts his leg out. The blow throws him back. Henry bumps into something soft and pleasant. Roger is seriously worried about his friend. She's fine. Greta's still in business. If this continues, Henry won't survive. The system suggests using transformation. You'll have to pay 30,000. There is no choice. Henry buys the ability. At this moment, he notices the attack. You have to believe Larry is in a lot of pain right now. For such flights, you do not need an airplane. The explosive force of the blow is not less than 5,000 units. The guy definitely has his secrets. He fights like a real monster. Liquid iron is the strongest. It cannot be compared with any alloy. However, he decides to combine tin and copper. It's all clear, the guy is a genius. Greta is used to testing everything in practice. She tries to pierce him with a sword. The blade crumples in your hands like plasticine. The girl's head is definitely not made of iron. Scenes like these are hard to watch. Roger will never forgive Greta for beating him. Henry notices the next idiot behind him. His head is not much different from his girlfriend's skull. Lily didn't expect such cruelty from the guy. This girl is a real traitor. She becomes Henry's next target. The blow lands in the chest, somewhere in the middle. To be honest, he didn't want to go there. Such behavior is unworthy of a warrior. With such a character, he will have a hard time. Some people decide to participate in the tournament personally. Ben is not going to tolerate it. He suggests the guy stop before it's too late. There are 10 seconds left until the end of the mission. He really can't stop. In that case, Ben will stop him. No one dares to tarnish the prestige of the academy. Henry asks the big guy to come to his senses. It's too late to cancel the fight. A huge fist rushes towards him. Henry promises that Bridget's revenge will be bloody. It worked. The blow missed. This brat named the dean's granddaughter. Old man Guilford heard it too. The guy called Bridget his wife. In 3 days, they will actually get married. Albert suggests calling and finding out everything. Bridget's adjutant may know about this. Instead of Nick, he hears his granddaughter's voice. The girl assures that Henry is very talented. The whole stadium saw his talent. By the way, something came to light about their relationship. She didn't expect this to be discussed. Guilford demands the truth be revealed. In fact, he doesn't mind at all. In the end, it's her personal business. Nobody expected such a reaction. Ben will be dead if he attacks again. Snotty Boy pretends to be the victim of an attack. He decides to say a few words to the guy. Henry did an excellent job completing the task. He will be a great example for the freshmen. Henry can run around the playground. An excellent punishment and nothing more is needed. The guy reminds us about 200 points for a victory. Since no one has beaten Henry, he is entitled to a reward. Guilford also believes he deserved the prize. The atmosphere at the military academy is getting tense. The guy is blown away by one breath. He is cunning. Ben insists he didn't lay a finger on Henry. This is a side effect of using phosphorus. Henry loses consciousness. The system task has been successfully completed. Now you can get up from the ground. He was really tired. Playing the lottery can be a bit of a pick-me-up. The big guy demands to call the medics. The guy's vital signs are normal. We'll have to choose a mentor instead of Henry. From that moment on, Ben becomes his mentor. He will do the job perfectly. 2 pieces of bad news this morning. The boy was soon taken to the hospital. After a couple of hours, he opens his eyes. The academy's leaders are already waiting for him in the ward. They will study in the same group. The mentor was personally chosen by Mr. Guilford. It becomes Ben. He is doomed. Greta reports the dean's personal order. She will also study under Ben's guidance. He and Larry have very similar fighting styles. Like the others, Lily chooses Ben. It seems like all the students want to study with him. What about the last one? Roger wants to study with Greta. This was the wrong answer. Sooner or later, Larry will take revenge. We still have to live to see that day. It looks like they're only here because of Henry. The guy advises them not to relax. Everyday life at the academy is harsh. He might want to be on the fight list. To do this, you need to join Lily's team. Then it may be too late. Each team can have 4 students. Working with the best makes you grow faster. The girl is ready to give a discount on entry. He will return the invested money in merit points. What are they muttering about? At the stadium, Henry turned his hand into a magnet. He is able to do this with the power of thought. Ben wants to know what color his magnetic core is. For example, Lily's core is pale pink. Henry would suit red or crimson better. The students' conversations are going in the wrong direction. You'll have to believe the size of its core. Nothing can be done. Everyone has their own size. Freshmen rarely make it onto the battle list. You can consider the guy lucky. This is the place where true warriors are forged. Magnetic glass protects against the elements. However, all training rooms are occupied. Henry's turn will come in 7 days. We'll have to wait. There is time for meditation at night. It's great to have a separate room. Henry's magnetization rate slowed down. The ability consumes a lot of energy. The cheapest energy pill costs 5 points. You'll have to pay some money. A female voice was heard near the door. Someone is entering without permission. Lily asks to sing a children's song. When he sings, she quickly falls asleep. The girl is willing to pay a little for singing. He was never paid to perform the song. Lily's offer for the team still stands. Instead, Henry invites her into his. Not a very attractive offer. Lily won't let anyone take the captain's place, but she lost the morning skirmish. He will be on the combat list within 2 days. In that case, she offers a condition. If he is not on the list, she will leave the team. 2 members of the invincible team in action. Lily likes this name. This is the best name for the strongest warriors. The girl will contact other team members. They will have to train a lot together. Only joint training produces results. Joint missions will bring a lot of money. The robot reports that the system's evolution is complete. Soon everyone else will be here. After evolution, Henry won't be able to turn everything back. This system always complicates everything. In any case, he won't die a weakling. It's worth the risk if you want more. He fears mediocrity more than death. Henry chooses the most difficult level. He falls into a new virtual space. His partner has no idea. The system offers 2 attributes. He was not mistaken in choosing this evolution. I wonder what the 3rd attribute contains. It contains cultivation. The space doesn't feel safe. It seems he will become a surrogate mother for the system. At this moment, voices are heard. The rest of the group have already arrived. The session needs to be interrupted. Larry is surprised by the newcomer's decision. He was serious about getting on the combat list. Greta suggests appointing Larry as captain. But some people believe that Henry will succeed. There is only one strong fighter on the opposing team. They will continue to chat for a long time. It's better to spend your time usefully. For example, to get some pills. Instead, the system returns the problem again. The guy demands to cancel the new task. Henry wants to say something important. He intends to defeat all teams in 1 month. It's funny that the guy talks about it so seriously. They decide to continue their previous conversation. No, he really does intend to raze them to the ground. This is not funny anymore. First, Greta reminds us of the high stakes involved. He is ready to take on all the initial costs. Lily wants him to pay for other expenses as well. Apart from Greta, everyone is delighted with the conditions. In this case, you need to notify management in advance. Lily decides to call the captain's future wife. Everyone knows that Bridget and Henry are getting married. He wants to talk to her in person. The joke went too far. The guy asks not to get in touch today. It looks like Bridget is expecting his baby. Henry quickly ends the call. He tells them to get busy creating tactics. 1 problem less. Henry bought 10 energy pills at once. It's better to eat 1 of them now. Children's songs cannot restore energy. Otherwise, there would be enough energy for a lifetime. The next day, everything was revealed. News about the new team spreads throughout the academy. All the newcomers united into a team. This added to the problems of their supervisor. The captain of the invincible team welcomes the students. He intends to knock out all the others within a month. Gradually, Ben becomes enraged. A bunch of idiots are making a laughing stock of him. Lily has no doubt about success. Henry is also confident of overall victory. They might have a conversation with Ben. Larry is already starting to feel sorry. Now he will regret it even more. Big Ben is in the building to give us a thrashing. Henry got him into trouble with his broadcast. The guy reminds that they are now in the same boat. This little bastard is right. Otherwise, his head would have been hit by the fist. The guy said his last words at the right time. He wants to know when they plan to start. Tomorrow their campaign will be launched. They couldn't wait even a month. If so, Ben will help the team win. He will open a special training room. If they disgrace themselves, Ben will kill everyone. The next day, the boy gathers the students. Teamwork is valued at the military academy. Lily can take the position of long-range sniper. Her staff can actually shoot. Everyone knows her talent in shooting. You can develop your coordination in the training room. This is where we should start. The room resembles a virtual space. Quick hunt mode will be applied. Team members receive 1 point each. It won't help if you let your guard down. The first victim is Greta. She is drowning in quicksand. The captain doesn't have time to react. A creature appears behind Lily. Ben was there just in time. Lily reminds him that his pants fell off. Girls are not allowed to look at this. You can't take your opponent's words seriously. Only attacks can be serious. Larry slightly underestimated the big guy. He is eliminated after Greta. It's the last participant's turn. Finally, Ben will be able to take revenge on him. The fight is being held as part of training. Henry was prepared for such a reception. He scoops up a handful of sand in his palm. Quite a clever way to buy time. The brat dared to resist him. In this virtual space, he is a real god. All players were destroyed. They fought with great dignity. Students from the Forgotten Lands are different from the rest. After that, the training lasted all day. They learned a great lesson. Rumors begin to spread about the new team. Everyone knows the name of her captain. Henry hadn't heard anything about today's match. Even the mentors showed up. The dean follows behind the deputies. But the main surprise is his granddaughter. Bridget couldn't miss this event. The rumors about her beauty were true. A newcomer from the Forgotten Lands has won her heart. Bridget is happy with what is happening. She started the rumors herself. It is true that there is someone who is always dissatisfied. Derek is the captain of the strongest team. Some brats are trying to take their place. We need to show them who is the leader of the academy. They will be considered worthless if they lose. The invincible team versus lonely souls. A great slogan for a friendly match. But Derek is in the mood for a bloodbath. It allows beginners to choose the mode. Mission mode will do just fine. Vincent knew they would choose him. Henry is confident that this is just a practice match. His opponent thinks differently. There was a difference in experience between the teams. Only mission mode leaves a chance of victory. The location becomes the altar of an abandoned village. All participants enter the location. In front is the eastern village. They were a little lucky with the location. The captain warns that the mission will not be easy. There are many dangers lurking everywhere here. Henry has one major advantage. Its ability allows it to scan the area. He sees the entire area of the location. The rest haven't arrived yet. We need to hurry. Lily decides to go on reconnaissance. It goes briefly into the depths of the village. The girl returns with bad news. There are no traces of other people in the village. True, she managed to find the coffin. There is a large black coffin in the House of Great Ancestors. Larry decides to open it. Freshmen are still too inexperienced. They will most likely lose. There are old human bones in the coffin. The mission can be considered half accomplished. Henry doesn't believe it's that simple. It's too early to go to the western village. There's probably an ambush waiting for them ahead. If one side fails the mission, they lose. Then they have no choice. Soon they arrive at the western village. Henry asks for 1 minute. It's strange, but there really is no one here. Larry asks to check the area again. He had already spent a lot of energy scanning. You can simply run to the altar and place the cauldron. Without waiting for a command, Larry rushes forward. Henry orders the others to run after him. Everything is clean here. Suddenly, Larry's scream is heard. He's trapped. We need to help him quickly. Greta also fell into the trap along with him. She was fatally wounded in the leg. The team loses one member. In this form, it will no longer be useful. The altar must be somewhere nearby. The shooters are also nearby. They may have already destroyed the altar. By destroying the mission's target, they deprived them of victory. This will be a lesson for the young captain. Now there is only one way left. Only by winning the duel can one regain victory. The guy manages to stop Lily. She can't handle a whole team of fighters. Greta can delay them. How sweet they save the wounded. Helga won't let anyone take the trophy away from her. She finishes off the wounded participant. Helga's electric trap worked. The metal conductor is still here. She suggests killing everyone at once. Somewhere nearby, the voice is heard again. It looks like little Larry is trapped. Now there are 2 fighters left against 4. The lack of experience speaks for itself. Bridget is sure that the story has a continuation. It's no wonder she wants Henry to win. Lonely souls will lose if they go for a frontal attack. Ben is well aware of the captain's strength. The audience notices something strange. Lily didn't talk about it. This is the largest hand weapon. It belongs to little Lily. It is clear that the young warrior has fallen into nirvana. With such a gun, you can destroy the entire location. It's too late to flee the battlefield. The destructive laser is already aimed at the target. Lily burns everything within a 20-meter radius. It is impossible to survive contact with a laser. It's a pity she didn't do this earlier. It was possible to save the players. The opposing team also suffered. Henry was not mistaken when recruiting participants. Lily kills 2 with 1 shot. Did she already say she's a good shot? No one expected anything less from her. A shot worthy of the best shooter. The trouble is that the girl has run out of energy. An excellent opportunity for an attack appears. The opponents can still fight. It would be better if she killed everyone at once. Henry is considered the best rookie of the year. Vincent believes that we need to be more careful. Bobby doesn't think so. He uses the fire fist. It looks like the fat man is going for a frontal attack. Henry activates lifeform transformation. What Bridget warned about is happening. The fat man's strength pales in comparison. His position is too dangerous. More accurately, it is mortally dangerous. A little bit of toughness won't hurt the viewing experience. The fat man is down. It's Vincent's time. Now there are only 2 left. Henry takes a long run up. The blade is able to stop him. Vincent throws it towards his opponent. The blade almost reached its target. He is confident that he will win. Anyone who sees this will agree with him. But sometimes something incredible happens. The guy catches the blade a centimeter from his face. With the same blade, he cuts off his head. A spectacular finish. Too ruthless a fighting style. The first 2 students were under his control. Albert leaves the hall. But Bridget is ready to watch this forever. This is their first team victory. Fat Bobby is still here. It's easy to fix. Now it's gone. Henry almost lost the first battle. Victory was achieved thanks to Lily. Henry wants a gun like that too. You'll have to pay 50 million for it. Energy pills cost money too. The girl has at least 1,000 of these pills. Henry decides to rob her tonight. These pills won't bother him. They receive ownership of the room. Now you can train around the clock. Ben thinks they fought poorly. The fight was almost lost. Only an expensive gun helped to win. The girl does not agree with this opinion. And yet the next opponents will be stronger. This time they were really lucky. Henry decides to return to training immediately. There is no stopping on the path to becoming the strongest. He can take 100 pills as payment for abandoning the mission. Henry does not forget about the upcoming duel. The path of the strong is like swimming against the current. There are many more obstacles than usual. One of the main obstacles is already here. Henry called her his bride in front of the entire academy. He promises to explain it later. And now is the time to run away. Not so fast. The conversation is not over yet. In fact, the guy is in a hurry to go to the toilet. It only looks like an escape. At this point, the robot offers a new mission. Does the system really want him to sleep with Bridget? A stream of energy appears around Henry. Bridget chains him to the wall. He won't be able to avoid the question. And yet he will try to do it. At first, the girl wants to understand his intentions. Why did he call Bridget his fiancée? Maybe because he's in love. The guy insists it was a joke. But did he lie? The guy reminds her of her wedding promises. She meant something completely different. The main condition for intimacy was victory in the duel. She demonstrates her strength to the guy. His chances of winning are 0. The projectile could easily have hit the head. The Alliance needs strong people now. That's the only reason Henry is still alive. The guy asks to teach him how to use energy. The realization of energy will make him stronger. Henry's mental energy cannot yet be realized. Isn't just the fusion of energies enough? Incredibly, he actually achieved fusion. Research has not revealed this talent. In that case, she can teach him. Henry suggests doing this in a secret place. He wants to persuade her to go into the room. It will be easier at night. The students see them together for the first time. They walk around the city at night as a couple. Rumors quickly reach the dean of the academy. Guilford demands surveillance. The old man understands why they are going to the hostel. Certainly not for the sake of learning. Bridget is here for the first time. This is the place Henry was talking about. He is sure that there is no surveillance here. If she is afraid, you can find another place. Bridget demands that the dirty innuendo stop. She wants to check the room personally. The young people hide behind the door. They are quickly lost sight of. Henry opened the door with energy. We need to report to Mr. Guilford urgently. I wonder what they are doing in the room. The guy hopes it's not too deep. Bridget asks to go even deeper. I want to be inside myself. It's impossible to listen to such conversations. She demands that Henry immerse himself completely. The weather is only getting worse. An hour later, they still weren't finished. Guilford is starting to get seriously worried. It looks like it will rain all night. Everyone will find out about Bridget's secret. Her personal life is being discussed on social networks. These two continue their training. Henry establishes a mental connection quite quickly. The guy gets it pretty quickly. It feels like he's holding a magnetic field. However, his ability is still weak. Energy fluctuations also affect mental strength. Even a gust of wind can break the connection. Henry doesn't understand what he should do. He must train his mental strength. Bridget suggests doing one exercise. It helps to cultivate a special aura. Henry must translate the impulse into the form of a being. The shape of a dog suits the guy better. It will be fun if the shape is a small mouse. Time is running out. We need to get down to business. All dogs are devoted to their owners. After 5 minutes, the impulse takes shape. Everything works out on the first try. You could say he made a new weapon. He is much stronger with this ability. Bridget suggests testing the pet's strength. Henry orders the dog to charge. The attack turns out to be too weak. A second later, the pet was dead. It seems the mental connection has not yet strengthened. Over time, it will reach the required strength. You can do this faster with a pill. In 27 minutes, it will be midnight. The girl promises to return tomorrow. He asks to stay here for a while. Is he hinting at a night with Bridget? Henry insists he meant something else. Lily asks to be informed of Bridget's arrival. She wants to meet her. It seems that Lily is in a noisy company right now. Henry suggests going home for a while. This is much more interesting than noisy parties. Lily asks to wait until she returns. Less than 10 minutes pass. It's incredible that she managed to get there so quickly. Bridget has an idea where Lily has been. There is one capsule left in stock. This will be enough to sober up. She took some good alcohol with her. Grandpa shouldn't drink a lot anyway. It won't hurt two young girls. The atmosphere is gradually changing. Bridget invites the guy to join. The guy hasn't drunk alcohol for a long time. It's better to spend time on practice. Some more time passes. The system does not accept the mission. It takes him almost an hour to complete it. During this time, the girlfriends manage to get drunk. According to the terms of the task, he should receive a bonus. The system is required to count the execution as successful. He carries Lily to her room. They still have some time alone with Bridget. However, this is unnecessary. Henry decides to put them in the same bed. The room is too dirty. We need to clean up after them thoroughly. Cold towels will come in handy in the morning. The guy will have to wait until the morning to find out everything. At this moment, a notification comes. The robot congratulates him on passing. Bridget stayed here overnight. The condition was fulfilled. True, there is something unusual. Perhaps the girl was pretending. Bridget wasn't drunk and she was keeping an eye on him. She seduced Henry while sober. When the girl truly fell asleep, the system accepted the task. Deep down, she wanted to stay. Is the rector's granddaughter really thinking about something like this? Only by becoming stronger can he count on anything. Need to get back to business. That night, the boy makes a breakthrough. All his indicators are increasing. Mental strength reaches the second level. He is able to enclose it in form. Henry is now able to control energy. Mental strength will not be the same. He won't screw up in front of Bridget anymore. Almost immediately, it is possible to create the dog again. The dog gives a paw like a pet. He carries out all his commands. It's convenient when someone brings slippers. Henry asks to speak in human language. The dog copes with this worse. In any case, the day was a success. He had been working towards this breakthrough for a long time. The guy woke everyone up again with his singing. It's good to be young and have fun all night. Usually you realize this too late. In the morning, Henry was awakened by a loud voice. Lily is sure that they slept together that night. In fact, she slept with Bridget. This gives rise to strange thoughts. It turns out the guy didn't crave her beauty. You have to look closely to see it. Bridget's beauty can be seen from afar. Anyone want some eggs? There are plenty of eggs here, enough for everyone. The guy behaves like a gentleman. He personally prepares breakfast for both girlfriends. Lily didn't know Henry could cook. These are just eggs, nothing special. Girls like to be courted. Lily is delighted with her new neighbor. Suddenly, she notices a new pet. The guy managed to realize the mental form. Bridget is pleased with the newcomer's success. We'll have to test the power of form in practice. She breaks everything like a crystal vase. He must continue to create the form. Henry needs to add more energy. Otherwise, all his dogs will be destroyed. At first glance, this resembles a familiar scene. Mom and Dad argue in exactly the same way. Lily suggests going for a walk. Henry suggests cooking the eggs again. But you can't have eggs for breakfast and dinner. I'll have to go to the canteen. Old man Guilford gets a new message. His granddaughter finally left the house. He decides to go and meet them personally. Meeting my grandfather comes as a big surprise. Guilford insists he was here by chance. He wants to know how long Henry will be here. It's strange that the rector asks about this. The guy won't have time to complete the task if he gets transferred. Bridget promises to return to headquarters in 2 days. She has her reasons for this. Guilford trusts her in everything. The girlfriends will spend 2 whole days together. Henry promises not to lose the competition. He will do everything in the competition between teams. Night soon falls. New settlers arrive in the City of Hope. Stray cats are exploring new territory. There is a military academy somewhere nearby. It is in the very center of the military capital. The academy becomes their main target. Bridget kept her promise. She actually stays in the dorm. Lily demands to go up to her floor. To be honest, Henry wants to be with her too. He intends to prove his strength to the girl. The night will be sleepless. Henry starts training again. Now the energy takes the form of a dragon. He wants to choose the strongest form, someone who can be stealthy and quick. The third night of the mission will soon end. At that moment the handle creaked. Bridget thought he was already asleep. No one will sleep on a night like this. It makes the embodiment of the embryonic form. Sometimes the embodiment of energy can be strange. Bridget shows what else the form can be. She helps as if she sees benefit for herself. Suddenly, the system window appears. The guy was credited for completing the mission. He has access to one of 3 advanced chests. Henry chooses to upgrade his children's song skill. He manages to double the amount of energy. You will need to buy an energy pill. Bridget is confident that he is completely ready. At this moment, Lily enters the room. She can't believe her eyes. Henry is completely immersed in the process. Major Bridget is in charge of uniform creation. I want to eat something. Compared to Henry, she was far behind. Bridget has been teaching him complex techniques for a long time. This guy can train forever. He won't stop until he gets results. After unsuccessful attempts, Henry demands to continue. However, his powers are not infinite. With such persistence, he will succeed. Henry will never forget how the fight with Ben went. The big guy only behaved insolently at first. Everything changed after the first blow. It's time for the bald brat to rest. He seemed to say this in his sleep. These are just sweet dreams. In reality, the battle took place completely differently. Friends report that he is being sought at the academy. Teacher Edward wants to deal with him personally. Henry managed to do something bad. He chose the wrong battle list for himself. The guy's rivals will be the strongest warriors. But in the beginning, it was Henry who threatened to destroy everyone. Now I will have to answer for my words. Reporters want to know what gives the guy his courage. The answer to the question is simple. He is always confident in his fists. Time is too valuable to waste on weaklings. It sounds too arrogant. The dean watches this from above. The student gradually becomes uncontrollable. They are forced to endure his antics every day. Arrogance without strength leads to death. Fortunately, Henry had managed to accumulate capital. The wordless heavenly book now belongs to him. You will have to pay for the book too. There are 2 sets of combat skills in stock. Boxing technique allows you to move correctly. He wants to strengthen his existing skills. Besides Henry, there are others who want to do this. However, only he is capable of spending so much. You simply can't do without the necessary equipment. Soon they will know true invincibility. There's not long to wait. Spectators want to see a bright show. Everything is ready for this. The team captain gathers his fighters. Such a beautiful girl deserves to win. They are facing the invincible team. Lily asks to leave the fat toad to her. She does not tolerate doubts about her strength. It would be better to start with a quick win. The team opposite will only be a warm-up. Greta offers to choose the mission mode. Fighting in this mode is too boring. Henry decides to go into hunting mode. A bold decision in such a situation. It seems like the prey is coming into your hands. Both sides are ready to start the competition. Both teams move to a swampy area. Lily is the most dangerous warrior among the opponents. Her electromagnetic cannon was her main trump card. Henry breaks the energy capsule. It was not in vain that he trained his strength for several nights. The boy managed to realize his energy. It releases first-order energy. I wonder what he will show in the next attack. Even his partners are a little surprised. The audience doesn't believe he can survive. Only a few are able to cope with such energy. They haven't seen its capabilities yet. Sarah is determined to stop him before he can use his powers. Henry does it a little earlier. Without a head, it is much more difficult to fight. It's hard to understand what happened there. He fights like a maddened monster. This is just a simple training fight. A form of his energy appears next to Henry. He was able to realize it in the form of a dragon. Bridget taught him this for 3 days. In addition to daytime classes, there were also night classes. The night classes benefited both students. The dragon is instantly behind. The fat man becomes an easy target. This warrior will not be able to rise again. 2 main rivals have already been killed. The guy was clearly preparing the attack in advance. The realization of energy is comparable to the highest level. Lily thinks he stole her signature move. But does the girl have a dragon? She can't even synthesize energy. His pet can attack from underground. To avenge your brothers, you will have to try hard. The boys activate the turbines. At high speed, it is easier to carry out attacks. There will be no more surprise attack. The system has instructed each participant to be saved. Greta rushes to help her partner. Lily has protective artifacts on the soft part of her body. You can't even touch them with your hands. A smart move on the girl's part. We need to come up with something else. While the idiots are thinking, Henry develops an attack. How much hatred is in those eyes? The hunting mode is declared over. Next time Henry asks to be careful, the invincible team confirms its title. This is how viewers will remember them. In the rankings, things really get more complicated. It is no longer clear which team is first. Newcomers are replacing old leaders. They still find it difficult to get along with each other. Unexpectedly, the system gives a third attribute. It has something to do with implementation. The creatures he created can be bred. He decides to study it carefully. No one will disturb him in the room. The guy will become the owner of the Earth Dragon. After a few seconds, something appears. The egg is created based on his energy. It contains all the elements of Henry. Looks like we'll have to wait a bit. You don't have to worry and can have a good night's sleep. The pet will hatch without his help. The news of the victory spread throughout the academy. The old man hopes that his granddaughter is in control of everything. Colonel Ronald personally visited the Corps. He wants to take a look at this newcomer. His team won a series of victories. However, there are those who will provide competition. Ben also becomes a star of the academy. Every student wants to study under his supervision. He doesn't regret taking it on. Today's lesson will change a lot. The one-handed sword had long attracted Henry's attention. The guy even skipped training for this. Ben is being too obvious about his surveillance. He explains that he was just a little distracted by his gaze. It turned out that there was an important guest in the building. For this purpose, the rector calls him to his office. Soon Henry has to listen to something. He must answer honestly if he doesn't want problems. Suddenly someone's voice is heard. The colonel put all his business aside for the sake of the visit. His shoulder straps speak for themselves. A lot depends on this person. Henry thanks for the honor. However, he still has things to do at the academy. Ronald suggests having a little chat. Touch suppresses his mental power. The colonel wants to ask a few questions. He wants to know about the relationship with Bridget. In fact, they met in the Forgotten Lands. Together they exposed underground mines. If the guy wins her, they will get married. Henry knows how to approach women. The colonel demands to know what they were doing for 3 nights in a row. He assures that only pure love connects them. Bridget taught how to develop energy realization. If this is true, he can be free. By the way, the guy has a small gift. Magnetic ore is a rare artifact. There is a pile of magnetic ore in the Forgotten Lands. With her help, he saved Bridget's life. The colonel thanks for the valuable gift. In return, he gets 2 tons of silver ore. The value of magnetic ore is known to everyone. It's amazing how easily he solves problems. There is only one important matter left. The elder has not returned for 2 months. He went to a duel and never returned. A military expedition will be sent to search for him. The elven lands are like a real paradise. I want to stay here forever. The elven tree gives life to everything around it. Local residents revere it as a sacred relic. The drops contain pure energy. It is difficult to imagine her true power. Margaret's image appears in the lake. The lady has been waiting for her for a long time. The girl apologizes for being late. One nasty boy took up a lot of time. Such explanations are not suitable. We need to come up with something more convincing. Otherwise, problems cannot be avoided. Soon she will have a meeting with the elven lady. She is at her residence. The boy killed her with 5 talents. Margaret will travel to the City of Hope in human form. The lady resurrected her for a reason. She has to get rid of Henry. The hostel became a gathering place. This is a convenient place to discuss strategy for future fights. They don't need to know about the conversation with the colonel. There is news about a warrior who died 20 years ago. The warrior was raised from the dead for a special mission. They may have used reincarnation. 20 years have passed since the battle between humans and monsters. In those years, the capital was the Forgotten Lands. Strong warriors are gradually resurrected. A new war will begin soon. In the next battle, Henry wants to fight alone. He wants to know what he is capable of now. The guy will break through to the Second Order if he wins. That same evening, a tournament is announced. At first, nothing foreshadowed a special event. If it weren't for Colonel Ronald's personal visit, many students know his name. He wants to see the overall strength of the military academy. He will have such an opportunity. The invincible team chooses the hunting mode. The opposing team has a mid-level master. Alex is this famous student. By the way, he doesn't put himself on display. This is worthy of respect, but not mercy. Aurora notices Henry's silver talent. He didn't show it in the last battle. Today he will fight 1 against 4. Such boldness is baffling. Alex demands that the comedy stop. He doesn't care who he is. Henry is their rival. That's the main thing. The boy became too arrogant after his victories. You can't be so arrogant. Henry increases energy by 50%. He uses quick kill techniques. The opponent did not expect such speed. At the First Order stage, this does not happen. Only professionals have this skill. The colonel guesses who trained Henry. The old man is sure that this is Ben's merit. But Ben has nothing to do with it. He clearly has the strongest mentor. Alex's team takes off. Aurora decides to intervene in the course of the duel. She shouldn't do this. The chance of dying is too great. However, this is exactly what is happening. Henry summons his new pet. Energy Dragon knocks opponents off their feet. It seems to be created from several forms. The guy can dive into the body of a monster. This is called form merging. He orders the dragon to dive underground, to the place where Aurora is now. The team will remember her last cry for help, but the captain won't be able to help. The energy dragon is too much for the guy. Aurora realized this too late. Alex is sure that his opponent is breaking the rules. The form cannot be applied in the current mode. He will have time to talk about it. And now it's time for everyone to follow Aurora. The girl begs to be saved. Henry's hand covers his mouth tightly. All that was left of the girl was this. For the first few seconds, everyone watches in silence. This is why Colonel Ronald came here. Ben takes the floor and reminds us of the main rule. After elimination, the team is declared the loser. The brutal truth, just like in real life, 3 of the 4 team members were killed. Henry single-handedly eliminated them. The rest of the guys can wait on the side. Henry's energy was almost gone. This shouldn't concern Alex. He decides to use his main skill. The guy compresses all his energy into one point. Everything is enveloped in clouds of smoke. Did he blow himself up? Incredibly, Henry is the one who gets hit. He becomes the target of an attack for the first time. This guy usually doesn't leave his opponents a chance, but today someone was found who changed that. True, the changes were short-lived. According to the rules, team members can enter into battle. Alex did the best he could, but this is not enough to kill someone. Henry is still alive, preparing to answer. The response will be just as powerful. Alex used a prohibited method. In response, he will be punished. There is no better punishment than a quick death. Lily aims her cannon's laser at Alex. This is all that remains of the guy. They seem to have forgotten about her little toy. So small, but shoots like a big one. At the exit from the location, the guy is already met. They are ready to tear him to pieces. Ben witnesses a strange scene. Lily disobeyed her captain and received a spanking. Enough jokes, though. We need to talk about the upcoming changes. There is a suitable place for conversation. Like the students, Ben doesn't know the whole truth. It is known that the 20-year reincarnation is approaching. The most important research findings of humanity are collected in the City of Hope. Resources are no longer capable of supporting the war. The power of alien races is resurrected every 20 years. Therefore, resources are given only to the strongest. This time, the Alliance aims to raise the general level of humanity. Soon the number of the strongest of the aliens will reach 100 individuals. Previously, the Alliance could only rely on the strongest warriors. But today, it is clear that at least 1,000 warriors will be needed. Alien races unite around a leader. Thanks to the earthly leaders, the rest will be able to raise their level. Currently, there are only 20 such warriors in the Alliance. Time is too short. We need to act decisively. He overate a little. That's enough for today. The conversation will continue tomorrow. Henry remains in charge. Finally, I want to do something nasty. He leaves a little surprise on Lily's face. A very friendly team. The 6-month training is coming to an end. The guys are making great progress. Each participant increases their level. But this is not enough for victory. Third-order warriors are deployed against them. Only the captain's identity is known. Lily isn't sure they can handle it. Henry thinks it's worth a try. Based on the analysis, their chance is less than 10%. The analysis does not take into account many factors. Besides this, there was one more piece of news. The God Hunters team returned from battle. They managed to win dozens of battles. Every member of the team survived. Larry sees the 6th Order warriors for the first time. In the future, Henry must become the same fighter. The God Hunter captain greets his elders. They recently finished a fight. The team is due for a rest. Ben is surprised that news of the newcomer reached Leo. He asks Henry's team to come over. These guys became an example for the first-year students. A new rivalry is brewing. Both teams do not want to remain in second place. Future couples are gradually formed. One day they will meet on a mission. The task will be to eliminate the opponent. There is no need to show aggression now. Lily doesn't even want to look the guy in the eyes. Leo promises to be a spectator at today's tournament. This was only the first meeting. You need to get used to the fact that there are other fighters. After all, Henry isn't the only one who wants to win. Today's tournament will show a lot. Very brave of the newcomers. They accept the challenge of high-ranking fighters. The captain should dictate the battle tactics. First, he decides to disarm the enemy. After this, the attack will follow. However, the opponents took good cover. Henry decides to take the initiative into his own hands. It's a bit ugly to use traps. Such fighters could attack head-on. Alex hears strange sounds. It's like a surprise attack. We need to act according to plan. The guy jumps out to meet his rivals. They were already waiting for him here. Lily fires one powerful shot. For Alex, it ended in a quick death. One fighter was knocked out in a few minutes. A perfect shot, but requires a lot of effort. I'll have to carry Lily in my arms. The knight sees the team fleeing from the scene. It is unlikely that they intended to leave the location. The invincible team already leads by 1 point. They can just run until the end of the tournament. This was Henry's intention. It's true, it's boring to watch something like this. Now Leo knows what their strategy is. It's hard to chase the whole team in the forest. However, they will lose if they don't find them. The captain orders the boys to catch up with the fugitives. It is important not to get caught in the magnetic gun. One of the rivals takes the lead. The knight almost caught up with Greta. Protective armor withstands the first blow. The girl decides to develop her attack. She is quite brave but clumsy. It's better if they attack together. Another fighter is eliminated from the competition. Henry didn't expect such speed. He decides to use his last trump card. The captain is confident that the dragon can be defeated. He delegates this task to his partner. The captain himself prefers the chase. The guy can shoot them from the air. Each arrow is filled with explosives. Even the strongest armor may not withstand it. Henry suggests fighting in close combat. He is ready to go one-on-one. There's no need to drag others into this. A fight between two of the strongest captains. The knight accepts the challenge. It will be easy. Eventually, Henry will miss the attack. He does this for the honor of the school. The guy holds back the onslaught for a while, but there is something the knight does not know. He uses the step-by-step assassination ability. A few steps are enough to get closer. This guy has already reached the third order. Nobody said Henry was here alone. He holds off the knight while the captain attacks. The knight reminds us of one-on-one combat. However, it was Henry who struck the blow. Larry only helped a little. A controversial victory, but still a victory. There was only one participant left. He certainly won't be able to change the outcome. Suddenly, the rector takes the floor. He invites everyone to think about the future. Humanity may be exterminated. In today's battle, the students won and survived. He expects the same from other students. The list of the first batch appears on the screen. It seems they will also be sent to the battlefield. The invincible team will find itself among the strongest. A worthy reward for worthy fighters. Leo wishes his future opponents good luck. This guy did a good job. Ben explains the point of this list. They will go out onto the battlefield as observers. Henry was counting on direct participation. Ben will fight on par with the rest. This news doesn't give me peace even at home. Perhaps he should refuse. After the transition to the second order, the body changed. The system again offers to complete the mission. To complete the task, you will need drawings. He already imagines who he will meet on the mission. However, the system can give a construction mission. A personal workshop wouldn't hurt him. Then you will be able to create weapons yourself. This time, the reward could be a cash prize. Henry demands that the terms be finalized. During the mission, the system guarantees a lot of love. A few minutes later, there was a knock on the door. Lily asks to speak more quietly. She goes to bed. He hadn't noticed before how cute she was. She hadn't heard any confessions from him yet. And yet she cannot accept it. If Bridget finds out about this, their friendship is over. He must give up this idea. Actually, Henry doesn't insist. It would have been better if he hadn't said that. The guy will be glad to get some money. Maybe Lily has 100 million. This already looks like robbery, not a request. With this money, Henry will open his own workshop. She will benefit their team. The girl does not want to be in the role of a wallet. 100 million must be divided among all participants. Henry had expected a different answer. Only in this way will she agree to become an investor. The guy uses his charm. Lily has been enduring this kind of treatment her whole life. Nobody sees her as a simple friend. It's because of her rich grandfather. Grandfather already gave 50 million for the cannon. In this case, the guy can handle it himself. Suddenly, she offers one condition. Lily will pay the expenses if the guy creates a magnetic gun. This is a real challenge. The next day, they are met by Mr. Jacob. He set aside time especially for them. They go to the old factory. Grandfather himself insisted on this trip. At this moment, the car stops abruptly. Mr. Jacob has nothing to do with it. Someone ran out onto the road while the car was moving. This is Jane, but what is she doing here? With a few jumps, she manages to escape. She can kill hundreds of ordinary citizens. But my mother asked me not to harm people. Henry recognizes a familiar face. The girl recognized him too. The officer commands to use the bomb. They'd better take a different route. After a short time, they were there. Henry had never seen anything like it. The factory building resembles a science center. The central tower belongs to the main department. This department is located on the top floor. Mr. Howard is already waiting for them. The aura of this guy at the entrance is striking in its power. Lily finally meets her grandfather. Howard is glad they got there quickly. He asks to be introduced to a young man. The acquaintance will take place over a cup of coffee. Henry promised to create an electromagnetic gun. The old man gives him 2 months to do this. At the end of the term, the guy will receive a reward. Henry states that 3 days are needed. 3 days are enough to create a weapon. For his age, he is quite determined. However, the ownership of the workshop must remain with Henry. Howard reminds that his contribution is too high. But for Henry, he would make an exception. Another partner will be Bridget. Henry knew there would be a catch. To complete the mission, you need to agree. And yet Henry asks to remove Bridget. Lily promises a big scandal if her grandfather refuses. There is one more thing that needs to be said. He wants to receive investments only for real work. He doesn't need the money he received through connections. The old man decides to give him a chance. But Howard also has one condition. We are talking about the sword and anti-magnetic armor. Before the cannon, he must create these two items. First, he asks to give him the drawings. We need to understand if he can do it. He will definitely succeed in the end. Once again, we have to go against the rules. Two of the best fighters need equipment. It will be great to see them in a duel with Henry. The deal is sealed with a firm handshake. Henry took on a difficult task. First of all, you need to pick up the drawings. Gustav personally brought them from the warehouse. Now these rare drawings are in the hands of a master. Gustav invites guests for a cup of tea. 5 minutes later, the drawings were examined. The entire structure is collected in his head. Incredibly quick mind. The first test begins today. Leslie easily extracts energy from matter. His extraction technique is superior to others. Henry can do something too. In terms of extraction efficiency, it surpasses Leslie. However, he masterfully polishes the details. Henry can do the same. He decides to make the task a little more difficult. Energy realization is not available at his age. However, this is exactly what Henry demonstrates. He tries to connect two matters. With the help of implementation, he produces parts. It's even better than working in a factory. Making the parts is more like a trick. Soon the two matters were united into one weapon. With such a sword, anyone is guaranteed victory. The sword cuts through the strongest material. The work desk comes into reach. The surprising thing is that this is the first time he's done this. But it looks like he's been doing this his whole life. Lily had no doubts about her choice of partner. He can continue right now. There are only 2 days left until the end of the bet. You need to hurry to fulfill the conditions. The factory will be disgraced if Gustav loses. He must collect the weapons before Henry does. No matter how talented he is, the guy has no experience. Henry challenges his opponent to go first. He gives Gustav a slight head start. If so, there is no point in refusing. There are about 50 pieces on the table. The guy waits for his opponent to finish. This master has impressive work experience. He's facing a talented newcomer. He takes a new approach to things. A few minutes later, Henry catches up with his opponent. It's a shame to lose to yesterday's applicant. An hour later, the competition comes to an end. Gustav fails in it. He was used to looking the truth in the eye. Henry really turned out to be stronger. Looks like old Jacob was wrong about the guy. He asks to make a copy of the electromagnetic gun. The young man deserves his money. Later, Henry told a little about the guns. He created them based on secret drawings. The girl asks to wait for her here. There is time to review the documents. However, he won't have time to read everything. It's strange that Howard hasn't found the master yet. The assistant apologizes for the delay. It's okay, Henry is in no hurry. She is crazy about gallant men. He might want to have a cup of coffee. Great, there's still a little time. The books describe the weapon drawings in detail. The most modern models are available here. Some of them are in service with the army. Others are in the development stage. Finally, he finds the right copy. He needs a prototype electromagnetic gun. It uses all the innovations of science. It's true that no one has created a cannon yet. He will be the first to bring the idea to life. He can contact us if he needs help. You can take the drawings with you. And now she suggests having a little dinner. There's a lot of work to do tonight. It takes a long time to develop weapons. However, the guy only has 2 days. The project must be fully completed within this time. As expected, the guy uses the implementation. Howard considers this method unreliable. Besides, the guy won't be able to cope in 2 days. He definitely loses the bet to him. Lily is sure that we need to wait. If it doesn't work out, she'll make a fool of herself in front of her grandfather. In any case, the newcomer is very talented. It was Lily who first noticed. At that time, no one knew about Henry. The girl is also very talented, and she's also very funny. Soon the city is plunged into night. Jane asks the next candidate to come forward. The cat slowly walks to the center of the site. We need to move faster, otherwise you might get hit. Jane is looking for those who can and want to fight. Her team doesn't need weaklings. She will take the exam in a few days. Until then, you can't let your paws down for a minute.